Perfect timing, Donna. Just as the music ends. Perfect. And we're live. We're live. I'm live here with my co-host, Donna Stewart. You're very welcome.
I'm absolutely buzzing to be back. And what a week to do it. I like to call this National Irish Coffee Week.
Well, it started on Monday, which is a strange time to be drinking Irish coffees, although I suppose you could drink them any day. But we decided, let's stretch it out. Let's go Monday to Friday and drink Irish coffees all the way through.
What other way is there to do it?
Great to see you again. I think this is your third or your fourth time on the lock-in. I've lost count.
Yeah, because I popped in for the Christmas show as well. So it's actually my fourth time, becoming quite a regular.
Record-breaking.
Didn't know you liked me this much.
I never said I did, but we've had you back anyway. This is the first time now, really, I've had a co-host, and I need somebody to take the pressure off me and to take the heat. If things go wrong, I can just point at you instead of taking it all on board myself. So thanks for being the fall woman for whatever could go wrong.
I'm here for you, Barry.
Well, it's great to have you. We've an exciting night ahead. Let me see. We've got lots of people already joining us. Let us know if you're tuned in, where you're joining us from, what's in your glass, if you're going to follow us along and drink Irish coffees with us tonight. Let me see. Who have we got? Let me put something up on the screen here to tell everybody, to let us know what's in their glass. So we have, let me see. Peter is joining us. Greg Anderson in Jacksonville. We've got John Doyle. His kettle is on. His coffee is prepped. Tullamore D.E.W in the glass. Good man, John. John is ahead of the posse. More buzzing, says Andrew Schumann. He's excited for the buzzing. He's big into the buzzing.
It's going to be loads of buzzing.
Loads of buzzing. Loads of buzzing. Ola, Barry, and Donna from Paul Andrew. Let me see. Greetings from Damien McShane. And Kathy is in the Bronx. Frank Gildee is sipping on some Blackbush in Jupiter, Florida. Great stuff. Sarah Kennedy is joining us from Northern Ireland. Hi, Sarah. Who has got Tullamore D.E.W in their glass, and who's sipping on Tullamore D.E.W tonight, I wonder? Dave Cummins from Dingle says, looking well, folks. Coffee at the ready. That's great. We've got...
Hope he's got his whiskey as well.
He probably does, yeah. Isn't it great that anyone tuning in from Ireland is being forced to drink coffee at midnight? We're very kind to them.
We've all been there.
We've all been there. Jen wants to know, am I buzzing, Bazza? I am buzzing. I am buzzing. Bazza is buzzing, officially.
He'll be buzzing in a few minutes as well after a few Irish coffees.
Really will. Really will. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. We have a lot ahead of us tonight, don't we?
We do. It's required a lot of planning, actually.
It has been a lot of planning. It has been a lot of planning.
Like our most organized, anyways that I've been with you, we've definitely planned this to the minute. So everybody get excited. It's a packed show.
This is a show that might look like the duck gliding gently across the surface of the water, and you don't see the furious legs underneath making that movement happen. This is what happens on this show. That's
the beauty of show business.
Chris wants to know if the turtleneck shrank. Do you know what? I completely forgot to put on a turtleneck. I'm so busy. Yeah, so we'll make an excuse and say that I planned this and pretended that I wanted to expose my neck to the air for 1 week out of the 52 in the year. But no, we were so busy getting organized for today that never even thought of the turtleneck. Thanks for pointing that out.
Maybe when there's some music on later, you can go do a little switch.
No, sure. I'll stay in my seat now. We're here. We're in for it. I'm going to pull up on the screen. Let me see. We're featuring 3 whiskies specifically tonight, and we are going to use those whiskies in Irish coffees. And you are free, of course, to consume these neat or on the rocks, but these are the 3 that we have ahead of us. And Donna, you've got some work ahead of you tonight as well with one of these whiskies, don't you?
I do indeed. I am going to whip up. So obviously my favorite Irish coffee is the traditional Irish coffee, but I think we're going to discuss a little bit later the new versions and the twists and the modern Irish coffees that have come out. So one of them that's kind of my favorite was inspired by a bar I went to in Texas, and it is like a frozen Irish coffee. So it's not frozen, sorry, it's like iced. That's what it is, an iced Irish coffee. So I'm going to use Tully for that a little bit later on, so brace yourselves. But I'll also have Irish cream, and if anybody follows me on Facebook, I made my own Irish cream for the holidays, so I decided I'll use that in this as well. So a little bit of homemade twist.
And we shared Donna's recipe and the ingredients, we shared the ingredients in the Facebook group during the week. So if anybody wants to follow along, you're welcome to do that. But there is a lot going on tonight. Look at this is our agenda, or our order of events tonight. So shortly, to kick off our evening, we are so lucky that we get two fine gentlemen from the Buena Vista Cafe to join us. It's going to be a great chat, and we're so lucky to have John and Kevin join us and share stories of the history, give us a demonstration, and actually make a Buena Vista Irish coffee live for us. So that's going to kick off our night, which is super exciting. And Donna, you were instrumental in making this happen.
Oh, I'm just so glad. I mean, I love the whole team at the Buena Vista, and they're always so helpful and ready to jump on different things. So it was a little bit just a few days ago, and I was like, look, it's Irish Coffee Day/week. Can I please get yous on for a little bit? So I'm really excited to have these two pure legends, and these guys know their stuff when it comes to Irish coffee. So they're definitely going to give us all some facts and maybe even some secrets, I'm hoping.
Oh, we'll get some secrets out of them. I see them in the background there. John is shaking his finger going, no, we're not giving anything away. We'll get all the secrets out of them. You're not coming on unless you give us a secret. Then we're going to go to Caseman's Bar. Polo who's been with us before, a man from Cork. He's going to be playing a few tunes for us. And Sean then from Caseman's is going to make their version of an Irish coffee, the Caseman's Irish coffee, using Teeling small batch whiskey, which is finished in rum casks. And then Donna, after that, you're going to give us your version of that iced Irish coffee. And then I'm going to reintroduce the original, perhaps, brand that would have been used in the first ever Irish coffee back in Foynes in Ireland in 1943, which is Powers. And I'm going to use a pot still whiskey, Powers 3 Swallow, to make a version or a tribute to the original. There's no way we can beat the original, but we'll make a little tribute to it. And then we'll talk about Foynes and the wonderful birthplace of Irish coffee and what you can do there today. So it's going to be a great night of chat and so much caffeine. There'll be no sleep anywhere tonight, and there'll be no children watch tomorrow because people will be so tired after staying up all night.
It's going to be a solid one. What are you most excited
about?
What am I most excited about?
Yeah.
Drinking all the Irish coffees.
We have to make them first.
I'm kind of notoriously known for not knowing when to stop when it comes to Irish coffee. So usually when I go to San Francisco, my first stop is the Buena Vista, so much so that they've seen me probably more than 3 times walk in with my suitcase. And I put my suitcase to the side and sit down and start having Irish coffees. But the thing is, right, they're small. The glasses are 6 ounces, right? And they're delicious. They go down so easy that I'll find myself there for half an hour and I'm on my 3rd one, and I don't really plan on leaving anytime soon. So the dangerous thing about them, I think, is that if you start the day with an Irish coffee, in the early afternoon, it's gonna be a belter of a day, no matter what, because there isn't an easy way to stop. And like I said, I'm not one for stopping myself. So that's what I'm most excited about, the drinks. What are you most excited about?
I'm most excited about the history and the stories. Like, I'm fascinated by the history of anything related to Irish whiskey, and the Buena Vista plays such a role in, I think, for many cases in the 1960s and 70s, probably kept Irish whiskey afloat thanks to their purchases and the quantities that they went through, and in making the Irish coffee the most sold Irish whiskey cocktail in the world. So I'm excited to hear about that. So it's a high point for me. It really is a thrill. Like, I'm literally buzzing, to steal your phrase. I am buzzing that we get to talk to the folks at Buena Vista. Now, when you first went into the Buena Vista, were you working for the brand of whiskey that was being poured into those Irish coffees? Tell us, Donna.
I was indeed. So I had been to San Francisco like maybe once before I got the role working for Tullamore D.E.W, and I didn't know about the Buena Vista. So, but by the time I had got the job working for Tully, I had heard of the Buena Vista. I was very excited about it. And then when I was working for Tullamore D.E.W, it was even more exciting because it's the biggest Tullamore D.E.W account in the world. So yeah, the first time I went there, I introduced myself as the Tullamore D.E.W ambassador, and they were all so friendly. Straight away, I wanted to know how to make the perfect Irish coffee. What's the trick for making the cream float? You know, how can I do this as good as you guys? You know, they do it like a show. So when you walk into the Buena Vista, you might be ordering one Irish coffee, but you can guarantee that the rest of the bar, there's probably 30 Irish coffees being ordered. So what they do is they set up all the glasses on the bar. They put in hot water in them, so like keep them hot. Then they do coffee, sugar, Irish whiskey, and they do the cream. And I know we're going to talk about it more later, but it's literally like a show. It's like Bartender's show at its finest. So just going, that's why it's hard to leave as well, because you can't stop watching. But the guys are definitely professionals. They put on a mad show. So that was, I was really lucky that my first visit, I actually was working with Tullamore D.E.W, so I got even more special treatment than they give to, they're already give great special treatment to their customers. So I got a little bit more, and I even got to get behind the bar and take a picture and stuff before as well. So yeah, I love it there.
You talk about Tullamore D.E.W very strangely in the past tense, Donna. Why would that be, I wonder?
Yeah, so I no longer work for Tullamore D.E.W, unfortunately, but not in a bad way. No bad blood. Very sad to say goodbye to such an iconic brand. But yeah, I was lucky enough to get an offer to work somewhere else. So I haven't started that role yet, Barry. I can see you smiling.
Yeah, go on. Where are you going to work?
It's the night that we announced that I'm coming to work for Stories and Sips.
Oh, is this the night where we announced that? I don't know that I could afford you.
Yeah, so yeah, there's a new adventure brewing, and you know I'll be sharing with you and with everybody on the Stories and Sips audience as soon as I can. So I'm very excited about it.
Well, we won't put the thumb screws on you tonight and try and extract the information. We'll allow you to do it in your own time.
Oh, thank God! I thought you were going to grill me there, Barry.
There will be some underhand kind of jabbing and poking to try and get it out of you over the course of the night, but and we'll see if we can catch you off guard to the point where you just respond to the question, not even thinking about it, and you just answer it, and then we all know. So that might happen. I'm
a little bit afraid of drinking, and you know, 4 hours going by, and all of a sudden Barry got me to spill the beans. No, but I will be telling you as soon as I can, and it's very exciting. So but lots and lots of love still for Tullamore D.E.W, which is why I'm using Tullamore D.E.W tonight for my Irish coffees. And of course, because the Buena Vista does, but also because I think it's a great whiskey for an Irish coffee.
And you're wearing a Buena Vista shirt, not because you're going to go work at Buena Vista, but because you're flying the flag.
Well, unfortunately, they didn't offer me the job. So unfortunately, no. But I've got all my Buena Vista swag. You know, I've got, every time I go, I have to go into the shop. So I have the green shirt, the white shirt, the two hats. Where'd my hat go? I had it here. I'll show it to you in a minute. And then if you look here on my bar, I've got that gorgeous painting just right over my head. Yeah. Of an Irish coffee that I got the last time I was at the Buena Vista. Oh, I absolutely love it. I just think it's so good. So it's like an oil painting. And I seen it and I had to have it. And all the magnets on my fridge are all Buena Vista. Like, I'm a bit of a super fan, actually.
This is quite the promotion for Buena Vista. This is a lot of love and hugs for Buena Vista tonight, which is well deserved. Before I forget, and maybe you can remind me, before maybe about halfway through this evening, we're going to do a drawing, and it's for everybody who has purchased a green Tua glass, the green Irish whiskey glass. Everyone who has pre-ordered has been entered into a draw to win a bottle of Redbreast 21-year-old. I have all the names, hundreds of names, and we will draw one of those names tonight. So stay tuned if you are one of the people who, one of the 300 people who ordered a set of Tua glasses. We'll be drawing a name from that virtual hat. over the course of the evening. So stay tuned. You don't have to be live and here to win, but wouldn't it be nice if you were? So stay tuned, and there's lots to enjoy over the course of the evening. What else do we need to know before we go to our friends, maybe, and go to John at the Buena Vista?
Well, I think if anybody does want to make an Irish coffee along with us or for the chat now, I guess the ingredients that you would need is a glass, or if you don't have a glass, a mug, and you're going to need
or something.
Something to drink out of. All
Flower
right.
pot.
You're going to need some sugar. I have Demerara sugar cubes, but you can have any kind of sugar. You're going to need your typical heavy cream and some Tullamore D.E.W or whatever whiskey you're going to make your traditional Irish coffee with. And if you want to make it along with us, John is going to show us how to do it. So
He is. And if you want to follow my Irish coffee, I might make 2 Irish coffees. One, I think, is worth mentioning, which is an interesting Irish coffee, which doesn't contain Irish whiskey at all, but it is what's called the Belfast Coffee. And that is from Bar 1661. Our friends there, Dave Mulligan at Bar 1661 in Dublin, makes a wonderful Belfast coffee with poteen, with Bon Poteen in there. And so we're going to make one of these with cream later on and some nutmeg on the top. And I'm also going to make a Powers pot still Irish coffee, but I'm going to use Powers 3 Swallow. I have my glass ready to go. I'll be using my heavy whipping cream, but I'm not going to use sugar, brown or white. I'm going to use Vermont maple syrup, believe it or not, as a little substitute, a little hat tip. So not the original, but a little hat tip. So that's what I'll be using later on. And then Casements will be making a lovely version with Teeling as well with these same ingredients. So that should have you covered if you want to follow along. Let me see. What else how are you feeling? Like this is your co-hosting debut. Like, how are you feeling so far?
So far I feel good. I mean, I think I'm going to be better after the first drink. Like we said, like there's a bit of prep involved. But you know, it always feels quite comfortable when I'm on chatting with you, Barry. So I'm not as nervous as the first time. So for anybody who's watching, the first time I was on with Barry, I was given like a pre-warning from some people in the industry that like he was going to grill me on like all this whiskey details and like how whiskey's made, and he was going to ask me science kind of questions and everything. So I got on here and I was like, oh my God, like I thought it was just going to be a chat. So anyways, you didn't grill me that much, but I was very nervous that first time.
There's no need. Sure, we're only locked into a virtual pub having the old bit of crack, like that's all we do.
Exactly. That's what I thought it was going to be. It was everybody else stirring the pot.
Lots of people are mentioning that they'd like you to host every week, and I'm slowly being pushed out of my own lock-in, and that's fine. I'm watching who's putting those in the comments, and you'll all be barred from my Facebook group. Now you'll wake up in the morning looking to post in the group and realize you've no access because you tried to push me out of my own lock-in, you chancers.
Well, lads, you know, like I said, I'm unemployed right now, so waiting for the job offer.
This is your interim job, kicking Barry out of his job.
Yeah. Exactly.
All right. So thank you everyone for tuning in. Let me see. There's lots of people tuned in right now, and from all over the world: Ireland, Australia, Japan. Lots of people from across the United States as well. Scottsdale. I think we have so many, almost all the states represented tonight. It's fantastic. We are. I think it's probably time to go to our buddy John Jeide, bartender from the Buena Vista, who is all preened and ready to go to introduce us to the wonderful coffees from Buena Vista. So why don't we just do that? Let me get this comment off the screen. And there he is, the man himself, John Jeide. How are you, sir?
Outstanding. How's it going, everybody? Hello, America. Hello, world.
John, that doesn't look like the Buena Vista behind you, but I think there's a global pandemic has caused that to be the case.
Yeah, we're a little bit slower, but we're still pushing along and doing to-goes and to-go food and stuff like that. So we're still we're making it, you know, just happy to have a job right now.
I'm sure. John, how long have you been at the Buena Vista?
I'll be there for 11 years this coming May. I was 5 years on call and then I had other jobs, and finally I got the call to the big leagues, and here I am now with you guys.
And 11 years is new, isn't it? I mean, 11 years seems like you'd be one of the youngest there. I mean, people put in 30 and 40 years, don't they?
Yeah, I'm one of the young ones, I guess you call it. Yeah, I mean, other guys been there for 47 years, 45 years, 30 years. So I got a long way to go. I'll be 89 by the time I get there for 45 years.
And here, John, do you still love it as much as you did when you started?
Yeah, every day is just I meet different people from everywhere from the United States, people from Australia, people from Italy. There was folks from Minnesota, folks from San Diego, folks from Hawaii, whatever. They've all known the Buena Vista and how it's been over the years. They've all had family that came in. They all have traditions during the holidays. You couldn't come in this year and enjoy the Buena Vista and us making the Irish coffees, but they still had traditions of what they go through, and they still enjoyed seeing us there, and they were glad that we were open. So I was happy to be there and happy to still really excited to work there now. I mean, it's a dream job for any bartender who'd like to have a bartending job. Perhaps you, Donna, want a job? Kevin can help you out, maybe.
I'm looking for one, actually. Yeah.
Well, did you know about Irish coffees before you joined, John? Like, were you familiar with the Irish coffee before Buena Vista?
I think I knew about Kioki coffees and Mexican coffees. Not too familiar with the Irish coffee, but you learn pretty fast after my 7 days of training and finally getting around there. You just get in the flow of things, and once you get in the flow of making the Irish coffee, it's just you're a better bartender because you're experienced making the Irish coffee, and it's just you know what you're doing. People are like, I go to other bars and they're like, "Oh, you work at the Buena Vista?" They're like, "Nope." Okay. I have to make mine like yours. Well, no, just make it. I'm not going to complain or bitch and moan about it. I'm good. Just make it. And after I leave, I'll complain probably, but I'm fine.
So wait, you described there that you had to do your 7 days training, right? But when are you fully qualified to take a shift behind the bar? Do you have to be able to make 20 perfect Irish coffees in one go, or what does that look like?
It was just the training all week with the other guys been there for 45 years and that, and you're just going through the whole motions of making 28 in a row, and you got to learn what you're doing and this and that, and get the system down. And it's very, it's an in and out thing. These drinks are very small, so they can go down fast, and somebody can finish these in 3 sips, and bam, they'll want another one. So you hear a lot of the make 2, make 7. So that's me. Like, oh, really? Crap. There was one time when I was we had a party come in that was a car convention, and these guys came in from Volvo. And they said, "We need 25, please." I go, "Okay." That was like one of my first 4 days there, so I had to do that real fast, and they went out, and no problem there. And they said, "Okay, we'll close out." And they said, "We get 25 more." Okay. So
in any other bar around the world, if you went in and asked for 25 Irish coffees, I think the bartender's stomach would drop.
Their mouths would fall out. They'd be like, "Are you kidding me?" Okay, give me a half an hour, and I'll be right back, sir.
I mean, there you go.
Exactly.
Look at the speed of you there with the coffee, pouring that coffee in. It's like you're attacking the coffee with a knife, murdering it. You are in the glass. Is there any left in the glass, or is it all on the floor by the time you're finished?
It's all on my jacket. That must have been my first few that day of my shift. So usually the jackets are really dirty because the coffee's all over our arms, and then it's fun because it's all part of the show. Everybody loves the show. Oh boy,
now look at that cream.
Oh lordy,
oh, that gives me nerves. That makes me nervous. That speed.
You always got to do the ta-da. Ta-da is the fun part.
Can we talk a little bit about that cream? So I feel like it was one of you guys, maybe it was Pat, who told me. Oh, there we go. Oh, so 36% heavy cream is the perfect cream to use. Is that correct?
Yeah, it's more a little more fatty. So it's if you're working out, it's not good. But if you're for the Irish coffee itself, it's a little more heavier and more rich. So we don't have to pasteurize it anymore like we did back in the old days for 48 hours because nobody pasteurizes it anymore. It's all done for you. So it's just a nice cream. It's just creamy enough. So once I put it in the old tin and mix it up, it comes out just magical.
But like, okay, so whenever I describe it, I always say it's heavy cream, lightly whipped. But like, do you guys have like I think one of you guys told me that you shake it 50 times and then that's the perfect like lightly whipped. What would you say?
Well, we don't have it. We don't do a shaker. We do it in our hand like an old style blender.
Oh,
So
cool.
and that's how it sounds too. And you have to just remember how long it took for you, and it should come out nice and I don't want to spill my computer, but it should come out like kind of like that. You can see the
Yeah.
creaminess. And you don't want it too thick because then you're gonna have butter and you're not gonna be happy. And then the waiters get mad because you take it too much time because you can't make the Irish coffee. So you don't need butter. You need nice, even cream.
Yeah, it's like almost liquid, a little bit thicker than liquid, because the whole thing is, right, that you're having a sip of the hot coffee and the cold cream with every sip.
Right. It's hard to make it at home because you don't have our blender at home. It's we don't. If everybody had that, no one would go to the Buena Vista. But I have my little hand blender, which I have to use. But I try to duplicate with that. So that's what the best thing I have for the homes when you're at home is to try that little thing. It takes about maybe 4 minutes or so to get it really not creamy enough, but just the right texture to have it fall off the thing really good.
Yeah.
Not so runny.
I have had situations where I've had to like make an Irish coffee in not a bar. Like I've made Irish coffees on TV like a bunch of times, and it's always nerve-wracking because I'm just like, how am I going to get the cream to float? But the tip that I got and eventually stuck with was I get a protein shaker and I put like maybe like this much cream in it, and I shake it like 50 times. I test it on the back of my hand, and if it drips right off my hand, it's too liquid. But if it really sticks to my hand, it's too thick, right? So it's finding like that in between where it just kind of slightly moves. And then I'm like, okay, now it's ready. It doesn't work out perfectly every time. There's times where even on TV, I have unfortunately let the cream drip into the coffee, and
There's nothing worse.
Oh, bright red.
I feel like you're getting into molecular gastronomy there now with the scientific approach of protein shakers with the cream. Take a leaf out of John's book there. He just horses it into the glass, turfs it in, and it's perfect.
Just get it in there. So the waiters are so impatient. Good Lord.
John, what's the clientele like at the Buena Vista? Like who comes in for an Irish coffee into the Buena Vista?
You're saying these days or back before the pandemic?
Back in the good days. Forget the moment. We don't.
We are near the tourist area of towns. We're surrounded by 5 hotels and the cable cars. So I would say 85% tourists, and the rest are all just locals who've always come in. People who live close, like 5 blocks away. But there are also some folks who still come in and go, you know what, this is my first time here. I can't believe I have not been here. We're like, what? How do you not do that? But I would say mostly tourists that come in, and they're all pretty nice. We hear about the Irish coffee. What is this Irish coffee? What's that white stuff on top of that? Like, it's heavy cream. I had a lady ask me, do you all put espresso in your Irish coffee? I go, no, we don't put espresso in the Irish coffee, you silly bird. Those kind of questions. And my grandparents told me about this place 30 years ago. They met here, and they still love coming here, and we're so glad you're still open, and we love this place. And just never a bar fight at all like other bars in the city. Just that kind of stuff. Just really easy going. People get along with. They join tables, make lifelong friends, and they have stories to tell about the Buena Vista, and it just that's just about having a good time there.
We have some people in the audience who you have many fans in the audience. First of all, John, that's important to know. Angela, do you know Angie Nakahara says San Francisco natives come in. She also said that you're a legend.
Yeah, and Ange Naka is a regular. She comes in a lot. Hey, what's up, Ange? Woohoo!
Bruce Brooks says that he had toast every morning there because of the great butter and jam that you had.
That is quality also, yes. We've gotten some, we've had a couple chefs here and there, but the food is definitely one of the, besides the Irish coffee, it's one of the good choices also in the city. We're pretty solid on the food.
Gillian is curious if you would ever order an Irish coffee at a bar other than the Buena Vista, because she's seen some bad Irish coffees served over the years.
I can't. I'm not going to mention any names of the bars that I've been to, but because I don't want to call them out. But one place didn't even care about putting the cream in; they just threw it in, and they're like, "No, what are you doing?" And so they didn't care. Other bar I went to in Denver at the Union Station. That's a cafe, but they sell alcohol drinks there, Kahlua coffees, Irish coffee. So they didn't use this glass. They used some kind of a beer mug kind of thing. So she made her Irish coffee. She used simple syrup, ew, and then the poor lady had to shake the cream, and I felt so bad for her. But I didn't. The simple syrup, I was teetering, but it was okay. But there is no difference between the C and H sugar and us. So I just I still prefer my nice Irish coffee from the Buena Vista when it comes around. But I haven't had Irish coffee at the Buena Vista for a while. But yeah.
And can I just give Gillian Murphy a shout out? That's the Tullamore D.E.W ambassador for the east of the states. So she's based out in Chicago, and
Chi-town. Woo!
She's a massive fan of the Irish coffee too. Let me tell you, me and her have demolished many of them. But on that topic, I see like a lot of people using the canned cream as well.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, when I hear that noise, when you order an Irish coffee and you hear, oh, there you go. He's got that hanging in the house.
No.
In a few minutes, we're going to hear from General Manager Kevin Jones, who's going to talk a little bit about the history of Buena Vista and the perfection, let's say, of the Irish coffee, to steal your own phrase, not the invention, but rather the perfection of the Irish coffee. But before we do that, John, you have very kindly offered to make us a Buena Vista Irish coffee to show us how you do it. Would you be so kind to talk us through your process and show us how it's done?
Oh yeah, sure. So let me move the camera down here, and less of me and more of the Irish
full screen.
Is that better? You're good there? Okay, so that should be good. Yeah, is that good?
That looks good.
There you go.
All right, there you go. You want to see my gut? Oh my God. Okay, so like Donna was saying, we preheat the glasses. So I've already preheated my glasses about a half hour ago, and so then what we do, we throw away the water, and usually in my bar rail. I don't have a bar rail right now, so I'm going to throw away in my cup over here. Then I'm going to do the 2 sugars like that. I'm going to get my hot coffee. I don't have the Buena Vista coffee pot, but I do have a lovely pot that I got from Starbucks. So there's coffee right to there. Okay. We're going to give it a little stir. We're going to stir it up like Bob Marley. You got to make that sound, too. You got to have that sound, You want your sugar all gone from the cup there. I think I'm good there. Yes. All right. Now here comes the good part. The Tullamore D.E.W. Now, we sell so much Tullamore D.E.W in the whole darn world that they put our label on their bottle. So it comes from Ireland with our label on it. So if you want to get a bottle of Tullamore D.E.W with our label on it, you got to go to the Buena Vista and get a bottle. It's a really cool thing to have in your house, especially because it says Buena Vista on it. Nice. So then I'm going to pour the booze in there. A healthy pour, right, Kevin? Yes, sir. And then I'm going to use my spoon to put the cream in. Like that.
Oh, beautiful.
And then I throw it away, which I can't really do right now. And then I go, ta-da! So that would be
Cheers.
and that looks amazeballs right now. Holy good Lord.
Yeah,
It does look amazeballs. What would you charge?
Virtual cheers. Virtual cheers.
Oh, virtual cheers.
Virtual cheers to all the people watching.
Cheers.
I'm going to sit and get a mustache. You want to have the mustache too?
Oh, hell yeah.
How's that? Okay. Woo, all right.
Looks good. Looks good. What does an Irish coffee of that quality and caliber set somebody back if they were to walk into the Buena Vista? What would they pay?
For you, $12. Anybody else? $12.
Good enough. Good enough.
Worth every penny.
Worth every penny. Look at this. Lots of claps and cheers from the audience. Sláinte, yum, banging, says Andrew. Sexy is as sexy does. Well, now we're getting into a whole new territory for John here.
Oh boy, I might need my own page.
Here's Connor Ryan. Cheers from Connor. Tim Hurley says John is so fast the speed poor can't keep up.
Thank you, Tim. Love you.
I love it. That's a great Irish coffee, isn't it, Donna?
Oh, so good. So like, I don't have my coffee here, but I'm going to make one in a little while. But it's so funny to me because like, you know, as far as cocktails go, it isn't that complex when you break it down to the ingredients, but it really has to be done exactly the way that John just did it to be the perfect Irish coffee. Like there's so many ways to mess it up, you know, using the wrong type of sugar.
Using a spoon. Do not stir it, people. Do not stir it.
When
okay?
people
Don't stir it up afterwards.
No.
Keep the cream on top, and it'll just be a party in your mouth going right through.
What about a straw, John? Would you like to see people using straws in their Irish coffee?
No. If you go to the old guys, the old guys will give you the worst time ever if they ask for a spoon. Just drink it like that. God darn it.
That's the thing. There's a perfect way to make it, and there's a perfect way to drink it, and you got to get both right.
Yep, exactly. Even with a to-go cup, we're doing a lot of to-goes now, and people are like, "Oh, can I get a stir?" I go, no. I already stirred it for you. No. Keep the cream on top, even though it's a to-go cup. Keep it on top. Oh, okay, all right. Well, all right. So,
isn't the beautiful thing that you've got this wonderful contrast between the ice cold cream and that lovely hot coffee, and your lips and your mouth isn't ready for it, because there's very few things we have that are both hot and cold that we'd eat at the same time, and this is one of them.
Yeah,
and
sure.
it's wonderful, isn't it?
Oh my God, yeah. In fact, I'm gonna have no sip.
It is wonderful.
Heavenly. My God.
How do people order in the bar, John? Like, if is it do the servers shout numbers at you, like, give me 20, give me 5? How does it work?
Sometimes, well, if they're doing 20, they're probably ringing in like 3 tables worth of drinks, right? Okay. So I'll get like 3 or 4 tickets, and I'll say, yeah, make 15. One's a Bailey's, one's a Mexican, one's an Irish tea, which is a virgin Irish coffee. One's a Gaelic one, which is a less booze one for some folks, stuff like that. So it's a wide variety of drinks there that can be called out in one day, and called out a lot too, because we go through at least like 2,000 Irish coffees a day. So it's just crazy amount. I said, I'm happy to work there. It's an easy drink to make real fast. It's no Cosmos, no mojitos. Stuff like that, So no pina coladas. Sorry for you guys in Hawaii, but no pina coladas.
But let me just ask: is there a decaf version?
Yes, and it's in the decaf pot.
Oh, okay. So you can get it. Would you say it tastes as good or not as good?
No, I don't think so. We like to keep keep it real. So I try to discourage them, but. Some folks are like, well, I won't be able to sleep all night. And I go, well, ma'am, it's 2:00 in the afternoon. How are you not going to go to sleep? It's a 4 ounces or 5 ounces of coffee. That's it. Or I don't want too much booze and I got to drive. Oh, it's only 1 ounce and a third of liquor. So 1 will not put you over the edge. 6 will put you over the edge. Yes. So don't drive after that many.
What is the coffee that you use, John? Lots of questions about the type of coffee. You have a specific brand and blend you use.
Yeah, we've been using the Peerless or medium organic blend coffee. It's kind of it's not too light. It's not too light. It's not too rich. Not too dark. Just a medium blend, and it just fits well with the Irish coffee. You don't want it too rich. You don't want it chocolatey or too dark, that kind of thing. You just want no vanilla flavor. None of that crap. There's no vanilla flavoring in the cream. There's no sugar in the cream. But just the coffee is it just mixes so well. Peerless has been a great company. We had the bags of coffee in the gift shop. If you'd like to purchase them in the gift shop, we have gift sets that has them also. But yeah, we've been using Peerless for I think 30 years now.
Interesting. If you weren't wearing your Buena Vista attire right now, and I was to ask you what's your favorite Irish whiskey outside of the one that you're representing, would you have an answer for me?
I would probably go with a Tullamore D.E.W or the 15, actually.
Keep sticking with the brand. He's on brand.
He's
not leaving the brand.
I do like it. It's a lot, not just because Tullamore D.E.W. I've tried it, and it just wow. That's what's been my favorite for a while. I tried Powers, and I tried Patty's, and I tried Teeling. Just hasn't hit me like the Tullamore D.E.W 15. Now I'm not going to put that in an Irish coffee. I mean, I had one guy one day asked for a Middleton in an Irish coffee malt. Sir, that's going to be that $45 coffee. So I don't care. All right, sounds good to me, no problem. And he ordered two of them. So I felt bad using the Middleton for an Irish coffee, but the guy paid it, and maybe it was a stolen credit card, but he paid it.
There's some unique people out there.
I said, I don't care. Just make me the Middleton. All right, sure, no problem, buddy.
That's a good choice, though, John. You can't go wrong with a Tully 12. I have many times said how much I like it. So yeah, if you're gonna sip on a whiskey, it's definitely nice and rich. And you know what? It's kind of got like dessert vibes about it. So it's on that Irish coffee. Like if I was gonna have an Irish coffee and have a whiskey afterwards, maybe I would go with the Tully 12. It's a good choice.
The 15 is the 12 and 15. The 12 is out. I see the 12 more out than the 15 because I had not seen the 15 out in a while. Maybe it's being left behind or something like that, but I had not seen the 15 for a while. But I first had the 12 first, and then I tried the 15, and just wow. And I talk about the folks at Buena Vista, the customers, then they try it, like, oh my God, it's so good. Thanks for telling me about the Tully 12 and the 15.
Legend. Yeah, the 15 they're not making anymore, but it's still out in the world. But anybody who likes the 15 should get themselves a bottle and keep it at home because it is eventually going to run out.
Damn, okay,
John.
all right.
I see. I found a picture of you, John, online that disturbed me greatly, and I'm going to share it here.
I'm sure there's 4,000 of them.
I'm very worried about it. It's you standing with a peanut butter flavored whiskey, and tell me that's not going into an Irish coffee.
Not to the Irish coffee. No. Oh, good Lord. Oh, that's good for Screwball. Now Screwball actually paid for me to do a photo shoot with them. It's a peanut butter whiskey, and we do it with but there's no sugar in it. So it's just a heavy cream still, the peanut butter whiskey, and it's actually on the Buena Vista menu right now after about a year of putting it on. And it's actually, once it's got on the menu, it's actually starting to sell. But the truest folks still like the Irish coffee, and this is something different to offer. Like folks ask you, what else do you have here? I'm like, well, the only thing you should have, ma'am, is the Irish coffee. It's so darn good. But
right.
I want to try something else. Okay, well, you can have the Nutty Irishman or the new peanut butter whiskey that just came out. Oh, peanut butter whiskey, what is that? They try it, and they're like, oh, my God, it's so good. So, yeah, that's what I got paid for that little photo shoot. It was awesome.
I bet it is really interesting in an Irish coffee, though. Like, think of that, like peanut butter in an Irish coffee. I would be down to try it, to be honest.
Yeah, we just put no cream because it's already too sweet anyway. So you don't need the sugar. But you put it in a hot chocolate too. So basically, a Reese's peanut butter cup in your mouth.
You can keep it. No. You can have it. You can hold on to it. I don't want.
Do you not like?
We do tell them we're doing hot chocolate too. If you can't have coffee,
because I don't like nuts at all. I don't like nuts or nut flavors. Coffee. Yeah, well, that's interesting. Yeah,
hot chocolate is a different version.
Peanut butter is a real American thing. I actually like peanut butter, but there's a lot of Irish people. I know loads of Irish people who've never even had it. Seriously, John,
yeah.
we're not
Sure,
big on
we don't do
ginger
it.
The true
in
folks, it's the true Irish folks would not want the peanut butter whiskey in their coffee drink. Hell no. But they've gotten bigger. They're they've crossed the United States. They're in Canada now, so they've done a lot of work, which I'm happy for them.
They're right here on my doorstep in San Diego. Screwballs
Yeah,
from
the
San
old
Diego.
the OB in the OB, right? In the Noodle House.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's right.
yeah.
That's right.
Mike just came in yesterday and saw me. He works for a screwball.
Very good. Very good. John, would you stay with us while we bring in Kevin? Because
Do I have to?
you don't have to. You can
I love
run off
Kevin.
screaming.
Kevin, love him.
Let's bring in Kevin Jones,
Yes, sir.
General Manager of Buena Vista.
How you
Kevin,
doing?
how are you, Kevin?
Hey, Gary, Donna, how you doing?
Doing
Hey,
great.
Kev.
All right. John,
Thanks for joining us.
Yeah, I got my Gatorade, so I'm good.
You got your hat though. You got your Buena Vista hat on you there. Your Irish coffee hat. You got your shirt.
Got the swag.
Yep. Oops.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. You're flying the flag.
Yep.
Kevin, you're the general manager of the bar that sells more Irish coffee than anywhere else on earth and buys more Tullamore D.E.W than any other account on the planet.
Absolutely.
Congratulations.
You're on one location.
That's incredible. How does that
Mind
feel?
blowing.
Yeah. So, did you want to know how much whiskey we went through before the pandemic?
I'd love to know.
We went through 48,000 gallons on the year
Wow.
before the pandemic.
That's on a yearly basis?
That was on a yearly basis before the pandemic. Yeah, it's like 13 gas trucks.
Wow. 13
When
tankers.
when I'm sitting at the bar there, like I see maybe if I'm sitting there for like half an hour or 45 minutes, I might see them break like 9 bottles of Tully, like finish 9 bottles of Tully. And I'm like, I don't like, there's not many bars that do that in a week. You know what I mean?
No, like before the pandemic, on a busy day, we'd go through like 70 to 80 bottles a day.
Wow.
A day.
How big is the storeroom? Greg Anderson wants to know, how do you store that much whiskey?
2 deliveries a week. You know, you get 40, 45 cases. And we got a storeroom just for the Irish whiskey. But now with the pandemic, we're not going through, many liters, but we're doing off sale. So, right now we're doing the little minis. You can buy the little minis for the to-goes because we have on sale and off sale. And so with our little minis, now Tullamore D.E.W has stopped shipping the minis to everyone in the world. The little minis that you see, like when you buy them on the airplane, the only place that those come to in the entire world are the Buena Vista. That's it. That's it, Donna.
Donna's going to send that up to you, and I'm going to send you up mine. I've got one in my cupboard as well. We're going to send it up to you.
Yeah.
It's
I've
so
got
cute.
the last 3 in California.
Yeah.
Yeah, because now the way that you're serving it, right, is like in a to-go cup, you make the Irish coffee, everything but the whiskey, but made exactly as John just did in a to-go cup. And then you sell the mini and they pour it in, right?
They pour it in outside.
And there's actually a history to the to-goes because I remember before the pandemic, you guys have a special license that you're allowed to sell Irish coffees to go before any of this existed, right?
Yeah, we have 2 liquor licenses, one for on sale and then one for off sale for the to-goes.
And that's really
just like a liquor store.
Yeah, exactly. But like people would take it, pour it into their coffee and walk off. So that was unheard of before the pandemic, and they had that license. So it was really unique.
Yeah, we've been doing it for years. So,
Kevin, how long have you been at the Buena Vista yourself?
I'm coming up on 5 years. So
5 years.
I'm one of the newest guys. Sorry, John.
And no matter where,
I've been in
no matter where you were before, you couldn't have been prepared for this kind of volume, could you?
Before this, I was with Landry's at Spanger's Seafood Grotto in Berkeley. But I left there and came to the Buena Vista. And before that, I was with Guy Fieri. So I worked with him for a number of years.
Are you guys both from San Francisco?
I think John's from San Mateo. I've been all over California, but I was in San Bruno before I moved up north to Santa Rosa.
My parents owned a bar in the city before, a couple bars in the city back in the 50s. So my family's been around for a while. So
Very cool. So did you guys both know, like growing up, like you heard of the Buena Vista before, or, you know, is that something you learned about later? Because I feel like if you're from there, you know it.
I think that, you know, both of us being on the peninsula, when we got to the Buena Vista, John was there before me. I came there, and we knew so many people in the peninsula from other restaurants, you know, that were so close to us that, you know, I could share a name with him. I'm like, okay, I worked with him, and no, it was very cool. So I mean, it's a close knit.
That's awesome.
Kevin,
that's so
the
cool.
The history of the Buena Vista is remarkable, and to many people, Buena Vista means Irish coffee, and Irish coffee means Buena Vista. We're going to talk about kind of the Irish origin of the Irish coffee later on, but the Buena Vista is credited with bringing the Irish coffee to America, isn't it?
Oh, it is. You know, back from 1952. You know, so we've been. You know, there was Stanton Delaplane. He was a writer for San Francisco, and Jack Koppler. You know, they went over to Ireland and got stuck at the Shanahan Airport, which is now
Was the point?
Yes,
Points.
and they were having Irish coffees there, and they're like, we got to bring this back to the Buena Vista. So they came back to the United States, and they were trying to make that Irish coffee, but they couldn't get the cream just right, because every time they put the cream in, it would sink down in the glass. So they got a hold of the mayor in San Francisco, who had a dairy up in Petaluma, and they got the cream just aged perfectly. I know that John said 40 hours, but it was 48 days that they had to age this cream so that it would stay consistently up on top. And you know, ever since November of 1952, they've been pouring those Irish coffees. Right now, we use a pasteurized cream that's 36% cream, but it's ultra pasteurized and makes it a lot easier. So that's it. Heavy whipping cream, but it's ultra pasteurized. So if you're at home, you know, just don't get the regular cream. Get ultra pasteurized, 36% fat content. You just whip it up a little bit, and that will float on your coffee.
I came across some remarkable photographs as I was researching the lock-in this week, and I'm obsessed with Irish whiskey history and how it tracks against the history of the different countries like the United States and Ireland. And this remarkable picture, which we talked about before we came on, I found, which is the first ever shipment of Tullamore D.E.W arriving, and the sign there says expressly for the Buena Vista Cafe at the foot of Hyde Street.
That was the first shipment. We have a couple pictures on our wall where they're taking it off the boat on a crate with a crane, and you know, they're loading it off. And that shipment was exactly for the Buena Vista. And if you look, it says every man needs his due. Those were all wooden crates. And I still have 16 of those crates locked up and stored from that shipment.
Amazing.
So every man needs his due. Yeah.
Now, over the years, the whiskey that's been used in the Irish coffees has changed. You've vacillated between a few different brands, but you started with Tullamore D.E.W, and now you're back with Tullamore D.E.W. Would I be right in saying that any changes that you have made historically would have created all kinds of commotion and consternation across San Francisco?
Oh, absolutely. So, yeah, you know, I'm not sure exactly the year or the date, but we started with Tullamore D.E.W and went to, you know, a couple others, but came back to Tullamore D.E.W. So we're faithful.
Yeah, we had our own bottle that was made for us in Ireland. It was our own bottle, a Buena Vista bottle, that nice and green, from back in the old days. There you go. Yeah. Yeah. So some folks still have those bottles, and they're collector's items, and they haven't touched them.
Yeah, we still have about, I want to say about 36 of those bottles left, but I can't tell you where they're at.
I don't know either.
I'll come up and help you look. I'll be up in the morning and I'll help you look for them. Don't worry.
Yeah. So, but no, great stories, great relationships, great friends, and, the employees there, with John and, it breaks my heart over the pandemic.
Yeah.
That, only, a number of them are back. I wish everyone was back because it's like a solid family.
You mentioned the number of the gallons of whiskey that you're serving or you were serving on an annual basis. How many Irish coffees would that equate to approximately? And then how many staff does it take to pull that off, pre-pandemic?
Pre-pandemic, we had 58 staff members. We would be selling, like pre-pandemic, we sold 500,000 Irish coffees for the year. 500,000.
How much money was that, Kevin? How much money did we make that year? That 1 year?
You add it up, Johnny.
8 million. I think it was 8 million, right?
No, a little over 8 million.
So what was my question there? Spaced out. One glass of whiskey and I'm gone.
One glass of whiskey. Well, I have a question here that's come in from the audience while you're thinking about that.
Okay.
And people are wondering why back in and none of us were there in the 1950s to probably answer this, but there's a question, curious people, about the original recipe, which came from Ireland and was made with Powers back in the day. I wonder, was Powers even available in the United States at that time, or whether there was a decision made as to why Tullamore D.E.W was the brand way back? Would there be any knowledge of that, I wonder? You know what? I don't have any knowledge of that back from the 1950s.
I think it was good relationships and
take of the hand. I don't know all the details of this, but there was a cross with the Powers family and the Tullamore family at one point, and they made a decision that Powers was going to be the national whiskey. They would push it nationally around Ireland, and then Tullamore D.E.W would be the export. So it seems like that could have been. I don't know that that's a fact, but that could have been a reason why Tullamore D.E.W was chosen the States then. But we always said that it's because there's a triple blended Irish whiskey, so the sweet, the fruit, and the spice in an Irish coffee gives a bit of balance.
Yeah, no, I think with using Tullamore D.E.W for as many years as we have, I think it's a good blend, good relationship, and we'll continue to keep using it and make the best of it. So I read in the San Francisco Chronicle, looking through the archives during those periods historically when the whiskey might have changed, how there were people swearing they would never darken the doorstep of the bar again. Such was their their fright. Oh yeah, absolutely. And so many people are so faithful, to the Buena Vista and to the brand that we have to keep it going, and that's why we haven't closed. We closed a few days during this pandemic, but we've always been open for to-goes, and then we were fortunate enough to open back up for outdoor dining yesterday again. So it's been up and down for us, trying to keep it going and not close the doors for our locals and for everyone that loves the Buena Vista. So we've been very fortunate and blessed.
And you guys have a patio set up outside now, Kevin, right?
Yeah, we have an outdoor tent. Yeah, we've taken up the parking spaces, and we got a permit to take up a turning lane. So we got 16 tables outside.
That's perfect. I bet it's busy all the time.
You know what? We just started again opening up for the patio yesterday. So, we're blessed. So hopefully we can, keep everyone safe and social distance and, and keep it open and, keep pouring our Irish whiskeys.
I remembered my question, ahead, by the way.
Oh, you did? Go ahead. Shoot.
So I think you guys had a world record day of Irish coffees. There's one day that you sold the most. I think it was Paddy's Day. Do you remember? Or do you know the figure?
Yeah, St. Paddy's Day a few years back. It was a little over 4,000 Irish coffees.
In one day.
Cha-ching!
In one day, yes. 4,000.
I heard that John bought a Ferrari after that day. Is that true? Is there any truth to that story?
I bought it off Guy Fieri. Yes, no problem.
Yeah, his yellow Ferrari.
Yeah.
So,
John, is there a best station to have in the bar in terms of where maybe you'll make the most money, you'll serve the most coffees? Is there a station that you're all trying to get to stand behind?
Wow. No, the whole bar, we all share tips anyways, but everybody does this, kind of the same amount of work because you all switch stations sometimes because one guy goes on break. So you better know what the hell you're doing on that busy side on a Saturday afternoon, continuously making 28 Irish coffees in a row that are gone in 2 minutes because you got to start again and make all those coffees, and you have to talk to the people and get their drinks too. So you can make 45 Irish coffees in less than 8 minutes or so. And that's not my record, but I'm a little bit more slower than Paul, who's been there forever, who's the legend there. But and Larry's been there for a while. He works the other side of the bar. Just everybody's just so nice there. It's not never. They know they're going to wait, kind of in a way, because they're just sitting there and they see us being busy, so they're just like, can I? So yeah, yes, I got you. We just go ahead and make a whole bunch and then just start handing them out and take the money, So that's what you got to do sometimes, Especially on 4th of July or St. Patty's Day when the Blue Angels are in town. Oh my God.
Now the Irish coffee in Ireland would have been, and maybe is still, traditionally made with brown sugar, but you've chosen to use white sugar. And is there a reason why you've chosen white over brown?
Kevin?
Yeah, because I think the white sugar, when you stir it up and it mixes with the coffee and then you add the Tullamore D.E.W, it keeps the cream floating up to the top.
Yeah, the consistency changes when you stir the sugar in, right?
Yes.
And I would say white sugar might dissolve a little bit differently to brown.
Quicker.
Yes, and CNH is what we use because it's the quickest to dissolve. When you get some other sugar cubes, you can buy other brands of sugar cubes. It is so dense that as you're stirring, you want it to break it up to get into the coffee. When you pour the liquor in, and then everything settles, and you can float the cream on top. Because if you had, we've tried other sugar cubes, like when we've done outside events, we're like, okay, you need CNH sugar, and they bring us other sugar cubes, and you're trying to stir it up. It takes too long to dissolve the sugar. So. And
actually, you just mentioned there, like when you've done other events, you guys have actually took the Buena Vista on tour a few times, right?
Absolutely. We've gone to last year, the Super Bowl in Miami. I sent a couple bartenders down there. So that was a lot of fun.
And was it set up outside, or did you take over a different bar?
We took over a different bar, and it was the Buena Vista bar for the Super Bowl. Got great response from that. My biggest aha was down at Levi Stadium, because we had a bar down at Levi Stadium and pouring our Irish coffee. So we had 2 bars up there. But my biggest one was Levi Stadium when Mick Jagger came down and played the Rolling Stones. And during the middle of his set, after, he's like, okay, who's from Palo Alto? Who's from Fremont? Okay, who's from San Francisco? And the crowd's like, ah. He's like, okay, if you're from San Francisco, go to the Buena Vista and get your Irish coffee. That was my biggest aha, because I was there.
Oh, that was so cool. I remember when it happened, we were sharing the announcement around work. And I just remember being like, that must have been deadly, but you were actually there.
I was
probably like,
yeah, no, me and my wife bought tickets to go to that concert. And then I had the bartenders up in the United Club. I'm like, okay, I'm not working this night. I'm going to the concert. So
I was working.
We were sitting there. I had my BB hat on, and I'm like, and I looked at the couple next to us. I said, "Did he just say the Buena Vista?" And I'm like, that's my restaurant.
Yeah, I think we had an extra 200 guests come in the next day into the Buena Vista just because of good old Mick.
Mick Jagger sent us.
A lot of coverage and stuff. But did he actually go into the Buena Vista? Did he get an Irish coffee? Do you guys know?
I can't tell you that.
Maybe he was incognito. I'd never seen him. Maybe he's, I don't know. So I don't know.
He
I can't
was.
tell you. I can't tell you if he's got the backdoor key or not. I can't tell you.
But you'd have some famous guests, wouldn't you, amongst your regulars and your locals as well that would come in. Some you could probably talk about, some you can't, but you'd have your share of them, wouldn't you?
Oh, absolutely.
Who's that?
Who's that now?
Can't see.
Oh, that's Hunter Pence. He's a
Hunter Pence.
ex-Giants baseball player.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
He was there. He's retired now, but made my year because I'm a big Giants fan. So like, oh my god, Hunter Pence. It's like a little girl. Oh my god.
Yeah.
The waiters will tell you that too. They're, you gotta calm down. I'm like, I can't. It's Hunter Pence.
We've had so many people behind that bar making Irish coffees that it just makes it fun. Just makes it fun.
It's absolutely iconic. Like, it's just, you think of San Francisco and it's one of those spots that you have to go to. There's only a few things like that are must-dos in San Francisco, and that's one of them.
Yeah. And when they come in, they're just like normal people, Yeah. It's just, let me come in and, hey, let's have a good time. And there's so many people that have come in that's just, it's just been blessed.
If Donna and I come up, can we make Irish coffees behind the bar? Will you let us in to make an Irish coffee?
Absolutely. We'll give you a jacket.
Hey!
Yes.
There you go.
Yes.
Take mine now.
I'll take John's. I'll take your job, John.
We'll give John a break.
Yeah. Tired.
Yeah. Barry, you're in San Diego. You're not that far. It's only like 8 hours.
If I leave now, I'll be up there before the end of the lock-in.
I'll be there tomorrow.
You're good? Yeah.
You must be the envy of restaurants and bars throughout the US and further afield, where you can generate so much revenue from one product and with so few ingredients. But I'd imagine you sell something else you sell other items too, don't you, other than just the Irish coffee? I mean, you have a food menu too, don't you?
Oh, the food menu is phenomenal. I mean, it's traditional. We serve breakfast all day. The corned beef hash, one of our top sellers. The guys in the kitchen, like John said, we got longevity. We've got guys back there from busboys and cooks from 12 years to 30 years that have been coming in every single day. With Salvador, our busboy's been there 28 years.
Oh,
He's
wow.
bald like me. He's bald like me.
Did you have a full head of hair when you got there, John? Did you? And did you lose it from stress of making coffees?
This pandemic has lost my hair. Thank you. Yes.
And I mean, not only are you the envy of bars all over the country, but I think you're also like an inspiration for a lot of them. Because I know a lot of bartenders definitely want to recreate the Irish coffee, and they look to the Buena Vista recipe to try to make that perfect Irish coffee in their bar. So it's definitely inspired nationally, if not globally, different bars in different categories as well.
Yeah. But I think when you come to the Buena Vista, it hasn't changed since 1911. When you walk into the bar, everything is the same, from 1911. Nothing's changed, the same paint color, the same wood, damn near the same employees. No.
Yeah.
But
that's how it used to be across the street from us.
That used to be across the street. Yep.
Yeah.
And that little picture with the little boy in it?
It's not me.
No. I want to say that's Jack Kepler.
Oh,
really?
That's what I've heard. That's what I've heard. So
Wow.
What they used to pull the horses up to that area and go upstairs and talk to their lady friends upstairs.
yes.
Oh, I see.
Yes.
No. When you walk downstairs right at the bar, they if you look at the bar wall, they got bells on the little buzzers
Yeah.
on the wall. And so you could ring the different rooms upstairs. We haven't touched that.
And here was us thinking that Irish coffees were the oldest profession in the world, but no, seems like they're not.
It basically goes hand in hand.
You need your energy. What's upstairs now?
We have 4 apartments upstairs.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. And we still have the dumbwaiter that went up to the 2nd floor. And you can still see the weights. If you open it up, you still see the weights, where they would raise it up and raise it down.
Oh, that's fab.
So it used to, there's a lot of history. And, if you walk around, like downstairs, if you go downstairs, there's a stairway that leads up to a floor that's shut off now. So I'm just curious where that stairwell went up to from the basement. It's like the Winchester Mystery House.
Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Scary.
Yeah. No.
Somebody said that they still see ghosts upstairs. I'm like, really? Come on.
Yeah, there's one apartment that people won't go into.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I'm leaving to plug in my computer. I'm not leaving, okay?
Donna's had enough. She's heard enough of it.
This is your new host. This is your new host. I don't know about this. Me check her out.
No, she's skiving off there now halfway through the broadcast. She's running away. She's not going to pass her interview at this rate.
No.
So what would you want people to know most about the Buena Vista? Like, the Irish coffees are iconic. Is that what you want people to come for? But you've talked a lot about the hospitality, and you've got people working there for 30, 40 years.
Yeah. It's the friendships that we built. They come for the Irish coffee. That's great. But there's so many friendships that the Buena Vista has built that they just come in every single, every week. They keep coming back. It's the friendships. Tullamore D.E.W, the Irish whiskey, absolutely is a great product, a great drink. But I think everything combined, the hospitality, the employees, the Irish whiskey, the longevity, the iconicness of the Buena Vista, just to keep it going, it's just phenomenal and great.
It's just an experience. It's about the whole experience all together, right?
It's like it's like when you go to Disneyland. When you go to Disneyland, you know what? You're having a great time. You're happy. Everyone's smiling. You never see, Cinderella with a frown on her face. It's like, give them an experience. You're on stage, you're on show. And, they come in and, and it's more than just the show. It's just it's a genuine feeling of, hey, you know what? We appreciate you coming in, and you know what? Glad to have you come back. Hey, bring your dog in. Hey, you know what? I don't care.
Yeah, we were happy. We were happy, and we appreciated the locals that came in during the pandemic every single day. That really helped us out. Just for the to-goes, we got one family that comes in every day, right, Kevin? Bill, right, comes in with his $2 gems and jewels, and they get an Irish coffee and a Bailey's coffee to go, and they come in like 6 days a week. It's just awesome. And they probably didn't come in a lot during the year, but now that with the pandemic, they live so close, like in probably North Beach or something like that, and they come in every day. They go for a little walk, and they're like, Irish coffee.
Yeah. How many times does Blushy come in?
Oh, Blush comes in 4 times a week. Blush is one of our regular dogs, but he's been coming there for about 30 years himself.
Yeah.
So
we got to switch him to Tullamore D.E.W, though.
Oh, what's he on? What's he drinking?
I don't know. Can we say it?
Yeah.
No. Yeah, you can say it.
No, he likes somehow he likes the Bushmills red or the black. So.
All right. Each to their own. As long as they're drinking Irish, we can't really complain.
Absolutely.
Andrew says that the Cinderella doesn't get to drink Irish whiskey at Disney World.
She might in the dressing room.
Isn't there a Buena Vista in Disney World?
Yes, there is.
A street or a store, right?
In Florida.
Yeah, in Florida.
It's Legoland. Legoland in Florida. They've got the Buena Vista Cafe.
With Irish coffees?
Yes.
And what about at the airport? You used to have one at the airport. Is that still there at San Francisco Airport?
No, that closed a year and a half ago, November.
Okay.
Yeah, that wasn't that. They just had the rights to use our name.
Oh, cool.
I see.
Yeah, that was run by the airport.
We had the Buena Vista at the AT&T ballpark too, but that was just our name. So they weren't. They used Tullamore D.E.W, but they butchered it. So yeah, it was.
Oh no, that's the
Yeah.
worst thing ever.
Because they used fake cream, and I was appalled by it. So I'm like, you got to be kidding me. So
Yeah.
nothing we could do about it. It was the baseball guys. So
There's only one
Dawn
Buena
shared.
Vista.
There's only one Buena Vista, yeah, the real one. Dawn McGuinness has shared with us. She's inspired. She just fixed her first homemade Irish coffee. And the last time she had one was at the Buena Vista in 2019.
2019, delicious.
show us a picture, Don. Show us a picture.
John.
If anybody does have pictures of the Irish coffees that they've been making, you can share them in our Irish Whiskey Fans of America Facebook group. I saw John jumped in there to join the group today. You're welcome to our group, John. You'll see lots of great posts about Irish coffees and Irish whiskies. But yeah, share your pictures of anything you make tonight, and we'll give them a grade. Donna will go in and rate them out of 10. And if you get less than a 5, you're kicked out of the group. We're very tough. Very tough. I can't wait until California opens up and the world opens up, so that not only us in California can travel to the Buena Vista, but that all of our audience from around the world can get to visit the bars and the pubs they love so much, and hopefully put the Buena Vista on their list as well. And I'm sure that day can't come soon enough for either of you.
Yeah.
Yes, please.
You know,
Please.
I hope the day comes for everybody, where they can get out, see their family, see their grandkids, give them a hug in person. Oh, I can't wait. That means so much.
But thank you guys in the meantime.
Hug an Irish coffee in the glass. Just, give them a hug. A little hug.
In the meantime, thank you guys for keeping it going strong and waving the flag for Irish whiskey in San Francisco and keeping serving the Irish coffees any way you could figure out. I think it's definitely kept people's spirits up. I follow you guys on Instagram and I see happy faces every day getting their Irish coffees. So I'm very excited to go up there, but thank you guys for keeping it going.
Yeah.
We love it.
On the Instagram and Facebook, I got to give a shout out to my marketing manager, Leah, who does all the work for me. So, Leah, I know you're on here.
Leah's been doing an amazing job because I've seen all the Facebook and Twitter posts about tonight, and Leah was doing an amazing job sharing all of those. So delighted to see so much, great content being shared. So well done, Leah.
Yeah,
good job.
absolutely. Oh, let me get my thumb there. There you go. All right.
And I want to raise a glass to you both. Thank you so much for joining us tonight and for sharing your good humor and your Irish coffee making skills and just your insights. And it's been a real pleasure for me and a personal joy to learn more about the Buena Vista. So I raise a glass to you and can't wait to drink in person with you all.
Cheers, guys.
I got you. Oh, yeah.
I got my Gatorade. I'm sorry. I got a good dinner. All right.
There's vodka in there.
Guys.
Been a pleasure.
Thanks a million. Thanks so much, guys. We'll see you hopefully in person.
Thanks for having us. Appreciate it.
Can't wait.
All right.
Can't wait to meet you in person. All right, Barry, Donna, take care.
Thanks, Kevin.
Right.
Thanks, John.
soon.
All the best.
Thanks, guys.
Bye, world.
Let's put up there the quick video for those who've joined, just of John making those Irish coffees again, will we? Just to play them out, because it's unreal how it's done. Just the speed of it.
I mean, if you've never been, it's hard to describe unless you can see it. But like he said, he's talking to the customers. He's doing this at the same time, and he's probably thinking 20 things in his head that he has to do next. And they do it with style, and it's just so entertaining. Oh,
have you
look at it!
Ever
I love
seen
it.
Coffee poured like that?
I love it.
Murdering it, he is. Look, beating it with the spoon in the best way. It's fantastic.
So good. Yeah, they really know what they're doing, and every single time it comes out perfect. I've never seen a mistake. And God, the numbers of the whiskey is absolutely shocking.
You've seen the faces of bartenders, barmen and women in Ireland if you ask for one Irish coffee. Imagine 4,000 of them.
Oh, if I went into a bar and asked for 6 Irish coffees, they do it, but you might be waiting 15 minutes and they won't be happy about it and they won't be perfect. So it takes a lot. Yeah.
I know. Cheers. That was great. That was brilliant altogether. I'm thrilled with that. Yeah, thrilled with it. And there's so much more to talk about with Irish coffees. And of course, we started our journey tonight. on the American side of Irish coffees, and we're going to take a step back later on and go talk about the origin of the Irish coffee and powers and Joe Sheridan in Foynes in County Limerick. So I think there's a lovely connection there, and there's some lovely stories. There's also a lot of open-ended questions, and I know we've talked about there's lots of things that are unanswered about the Irish coffee and about Joe Sheridan, and we're going to try and answer some of those, and we're going to get our audience to try and answer some of the questions, but we should have a good old session on that later. We are going to go now in about a minute or two to our buddy Polo, who is going to be picking up an old guitar, I think, and strumming a few tunes for us on the night that's in it. But before we do that, and thank you for reminding me, Donna, about our giveaway for Redbreast 21. I'm only joking. I want to do a drawing.
To tell you.
You were, yeah. I could see it, yeah. You had it written on your power cord for your computer, I'd say.
Yeah.
All right. So everyone who bought a set of green Tua glasses in our Facebook group over the past couple of weeks has been entered into a draw, and every 2 glasses that were purchased got you a ticket to be able to chance to win a bottle of Redbreast 21-year-old, which is one of the most incredible single pot still whiskies in the world, aged for a minimum of 21 years. And we will be making sure that the lucky winner gets a bottle of this before St. Patrick's Day so that they can enjoy it with their green Tua glasses. So we are going to do that drawing now. Let me pull up the details and see how we can do this technology. Right, so here we go. Put this on the screen.
Oh, I'm excited for this.
Okay, so this is a random name picker. Isn't this fancy? This is this looks very technological. So what I've done is I have pasted in all the names here. And now what I have to, so you'll see all these names, hundreds and hundreds of names that have been put in here. I'm going to now press pick a random name, and that will then choose a random name for us. Look at this, all the names.
Oh, so fancy.
And the winner is Catherine Morrison. Catherine Morrison, congratulations. Catherine Morrison, you are the winner of a wonderful whiskey, Redbreast 21-year-old. Thank you so much for purchasing your green Tua glasses, and you will be the proud and happy owner of a bottle of Redbreast 21-year-old. How about that?
Ooh, well done, congrats, Catherine.
I must write down her name before I forget.
Before we drink too much.
Before we drink too much. That's it. All right. So, Catherine Morrison, lovely.
Not too shabby for a Friday night.
Not too shabby at all. Not too shabby. Everyone's saying congratulations. Martin says he'll give me $100 to draw his name, no bribe. That is the very definition of a bribe, I think you'll find. Should we have a bit of music?
Oh, yes, please.
Polo, how are you, sir?
Mr. Chandler, how are you?
How are you getting on? You're not in Kinsale today?
No, I'm busy sitting in my apartment here, stewing away. The only exciting thing I've done today, Barry, is Jill gave me a Casements t-shirt, which is kind of cool. So
we take the wins. You take whatever wins you can find,
I'll take any t-shirts I can get.
Yeah, she hasn't gave me one of them.
We'll get you a Stories and Sips t-shirt as well. We'll get you both the Stories and Sips t-shirt. If that's what makes your day, like I can, get through the drudgery of the pandemic with a free t-shirt, we'll do it.
I do.
Yeah, send a bottle of Redbreast 21 with it as well, Barry.
Would you go out of that?
Redbreast, Barry. Yeah.
Polo, you were on with us before, and you played a few tunes with us in the past. You were sitting downstairs in the comfort of the bar that time, weren't you?
I was. Fortunately, at that time, I was in the bar. Today, I haven't been able to make it to the bar, but I might go there afterwards. I've unfortunately been working up until this point, but it would be good to get down there at some point. The gang of Casements are open again, which is great. We've been on a pretty severe lockdown here in San Francisco, so it's been it's nice to just be able to meet people outside at least now.
I know, and that only happened this week in California. Like all three of us are in California this week. Dining and drinking outside is permitted again.
Yeah. So looking forward to looking forward to seeing Jill and all the gang again. If and when
And
I
getting a
can.
nice pint.
Jeez, yeah, good pint.
And she has a good point. She's a very good point. And the meantime, I've got Jill actually with the T-shirt. Jill dropped over a bottle of the West Cork 12-year share with the sherry cask, which I'm enjoying.
Very good.
Very nice.
Very good. Keeping a cork.
Thank Jill very much for that. It's very nice altogether. So, yeah.
She, we were talking to Gillian was hoping to join us tonight, but she got called away to another unexpected event. And I was talking to her as we planned this event, and I said, "Would Polo be interested in doing a few tunes?" And she goes, "Oh, jizz, yeah, we'll fill him with pints and whiskey. He'd be delighted."
Well, per usual, I get a text from Jill like last night, being like, "Will you play tomorrow for Barry?" I was like, "Yeah."
Stop.
Yeah. So we have another mutual friend, and we love Jill dearly, but he calls Jill Manic Monday.
We're picking up on the pieces of that.
Yeah.
In fairness to her, though, she makes it happen.
She makes it happen.
Yeah, Jill makes it happen for sure, and they've done a great job. In fact, they're still, all through the last few weeks and over Christmas and the New Year, they've been doing deliveries to different places in the city here in San Francisco, and then a little bit in the South Bay as well. So there's a few folks who have prospered even while lockdown's been down, with Jill dropping over all the stuff they sell at casements online. They've done a whole great job at the online store as well, which is Jill's been working really hard on it. So
I've seen an Instagram of Gillian doing deliveries, and they seem to be kind of hit or miss. It seems like sometimes she'll deliver it to the door, then sometimes she'll try and throw the bottle up to a second floor window, and it might not make it. Would that be a fair assessment?
the element of surprise comes for free.
She's a gas woman, that one. When I seen that video, if anybody hasn't seen it, she throws the bottle up. They don't quite catch it, and the bottle of, I think it was a batched cocktail, just shatters on the ground. It's kind of devastating, but hilarious at the same time.
I hear she's offering free shipping at the moment.
Yeah, I'll let her comment on that. She'll beat me up later, so I'll play a song and then we'll be quiet. Yeah.
All right. What tune would you like to play for us? I think we're going to get two tunes out of you tonight.
We got 2 tunes out of me tonight. All right. Well, hopefully my connection is okay and you guys can hear me all right. But we're going to play an old one, I guess. This is an old Planksty song, and I'll hopefully remember all the words. And if I don't, it's a good one for a Friday night. I think if it was a Friday night at home and you wanted to get after it a bit, this is a good one for it. So,
good man, Polo.
There were 3 old gypsies came to our hall door, became brave and bold, and one sang high and the other sang low, and one sang the raggle-taggle gypsy, It was upstairs and downstairs the lady went, put on her suit of leather, and then a cry came from the door, she's away with the raggle-taggle gypsy. Well, it was late that night that the Lord came in, inquiring for his lady, and then a cry from the servant girl, she's away with the raggle-taggle gypsy, Well, he rode east and he rode west, he rode north and south also, and when he came to a wide open field, it was there he spied his bride. You're a why do you leave your house and your land? Why do you leave your money? You're a why do you leave your only wedded lord, and away with the raggle-taggle gypsy? Well, what do I care for my house and my land? What do I care for money, And I'd rather have a kiss of the yellow gypsy's lips and away with the raggle-taggle gypsy, away do you leave your goose feather bed? But blanket strong, so come me, oh, where away do you leave your only wedded lord, and away with the raggle-taggle gypsy, oh. Hero, what do I care for my goose feather bed? But blanket strong, so come me, oh, tonight I lie in the wide open field, and away with the raggle-taggle gypsy, oh. There were 3 old gypsies came to our hall door. They came brave and boldly, oh, and one sang high and the other sang low, and one said the raggle-taggle gypsy, oh.
Yeah, go Polo.
That's definitely a Sash song.
It is a Sash song.
Yeah, it's a bit early for that, I guess. It's fucking 5 o'clock, but I guess it's 12 o'clock somewhere, isn't it, as they'd say?
No, Polo, you're mistaken. Ever since this pandemic hit, it's always okay to get into a session. It's required.
I've been kind of trying to veer away from that, Barry, because I found myself maybe having like a glass of whiskey every night of the week, which actually isn't that good if you have a full-time job.
We both know that.
Yeah. And what if your job involves whiskey? Then how do you get around that?
For you guys, it's a bit easier because you can be like, it's industry research, whereas for me, it's like drinking. You just drink it.
Try telling that to the doctor. Doctor, it's industry research, and you're lying on the bed like.
Oh, that's the scariest question when the doctor asks me how many drinks I have a week. I just don't know how to answer.
Californian doctors aren't very good at the response from a regular Irish person with that on that question.
Could you repeat the question, doctor?
I think everything goes through my head. Should I lie? Yeah. How much should I lie by? Should I be generous or should I try to restrict it way back? I'm like, I can't be honest. That's for sure.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, I hear you. But I echo. It was John put a comment in here earlier. John Doyle, he misses a solid trad night, and I'm sure for us that enjoy trad, we can understand that. But for those who play trad like yourself and play a bit of music, that's got to be felt even more.
Well, John's not going to find a trad night up the mountain there, but
he's looking in the wrong place, is he?
I'd like to be skiing though. Like that would be fun. Although is skiing kind of dangerous? I don't know. It probably is.
Have you been skiing before?
I have been skiing before, yeah. But like,
what do you mean is skiing kind of dangerous?
Well, like it's dangerous with COVID.
Oh, right.
I thought you meant with gravity.
Well, if you're a woman, you've got to go to the toilet at some point, and like, they're
just a woman, is it?
Well, like guys can pee outside.
This is after taking an awful turn. Go on, you're on a good train there. Go on, you're on a track there. We don't want to take the train off it.
Well, like,
I'm interested.
I was actually having this conversation with a friend of mine the other week, where it's like, would you, as a woman or a man, or like even a man, like let's be a person, go skiing with the knowledge that like you have a high chance of getting COVID from any time you go to the toilet in a ski resort?
That's not a scenario I had played out in my head. I'll be honest.
Yeah, I hadn't thought of it that far ahead. I just felt like skiing would be like outdoors and like,
You work in the alcohol industry. You don't do any planning. It's not really what you do.
Yeah, we're the manic Mondays, like. I don't know. I think skiing might be one of the safer sports to do right now, but not for me. I personally would hurt myself in other ways. COVID wouldn't be my biggest fear when it comes to skiing.
Well, it's kind of the irony, isn't it, that you'd go skiing and you're more likely to probably break your leg than you are to get COVID.
Yeah.
That's true. Yeah. I just started learning how to ski before the pandemic, and I really enjoyed it actually. But now there's really no chance. And now since Polo has put the kibosh on visiting mountains, I won't be going anywhere near them anytime soon, it seems.
No skiing for anyone who's tuning in. No fucking skiing.
Big warning there.
Well, you heard it here. You heard it from Polo. That's it. No skiing. You didn't come here for medical advice, but you got it anyway.
Yeah. Skiing, I'm not a medical professional, but skiing, while normally unsafe, is even more unsafe right now.
Well, listen, why don't you hang up the skis and the boots and think about your next tune, and we'll go down to the bar and see if they'll make us an Irish coffee, and then we'll come back to you.
That sounds good.
Good man. We'll see you in a minute, Polo. Some chancer, a good chancer though, with great music.
Oh yeah, absolutely. So this is my first time meeting him, but definitely seems like a top buzzer, kind of like yourself.
A top buzzer.
I don't know if I'd go skiing with him, but I'd meet him for a pint.
No, you can't go skiing with him. He's after shutting down all the ski resorts in California, and he won't allow us go near them. He's working closely with the governor, apparently, on ski planning. Who knew?
I love it.
Brian says there's no skiing near San Diego. There's plenty of skiing near San Diego. If I'm willing to drive for about an hour and a half, go to Bear Mountain and Big Bears, yeah.
Big Bear's more than an hour and a half from you, though.
Yeah, maybe 2.5 hours, maybe 2.5.
Yeah.
How far is it from you?
I think it might be like an hour and a half to 2 from LA.
Just due east, straight east, southeast.
I don't know, like
whatever the GPS tells you.
But I know, like my mate Neil, like snowboarding, and he went on Thursday morning, left at like 6 o'clock. Oh, there she is.
We gave you no warning of that.
What are you doing here?
You not nice person. Did you just turn it off?
I saw you putting your mouth down on a pint, and I said we'll have to put that up on the screen.
Hey, I heard there's been a lot of talk.
There's been a decent amount, yeah.
Come here. Sure, we made it back. I was a fundraiser for glaucoma. I say glaucoma. I thought it was glaucoma. Anyway, and we got back in time, so we're here. So
that's brilliant. The pint looks great, but we can't hear a word out here.
Here, cheers. I know I might have cheers.
Cheers,
that's
girl.
Lovely. That's a great pint.
I wish I had that.
We weren't expecting you. We We knew you had another event that you had to go to, and we had Sean all geared up. The poor fella was.
No, he's there.
He's still there.
I don't like to. I called Sean earlier, and I was like, there's been a slight little mishap, and then poor Sean. Cheers.
I'm gagging now for a drink.
I love a good pint.
Yeah, when they came to clean the lines and they brought in a fresh keg, we'd no gas, so we had to wait on the gas. And then I got freaked out because the gas company that we use are like USA. They're not local, and so I got 2 other companies to come to bring us nitrogen tanks for the I was terrified we wouldn't have it for opening. But we weren't busy. We weren't super busy last night, but we definitely served plenty of Guinness.
Nice one. So you officially opened yesterday, right?
Yeah, we opened yesterday evening. But I know that Donna's been there, but Barry, we have a big backyard that we kind of got during COVID. And obviously because of the lockdown and because we were closed, and we just couldn't leave all the stuff there. So we had to, that's actually this, no, I'm kidding. It's close enough.
That's your point.
Yeah, we had to dismantle the backyard. So yesterday we had the team come over from Oakland and put it all together for us again. And yeah, there's folks out in the back there and they're happy out, enjoying a couple of drinks and being socially distant and a little bit of normal. It's really nice. Really, really nice.
Congrats. It's great
to see you need that. You deserve it. Yeah, you deserve that.
Yeah, it's been the poor old Prius has clocked up some serious miles doing deliveries, so it's nice to give her a break. Poor old Bubbles has she's been on the road a lot.
Have you managed to deliver those deliveries most of the time?
Most of the time, yeah. I did finish about 8 of them this morning, and then we're doing a lot of online classes. So like either people not in the state are asking us to do classes where we give them a recipe card a week in advance, and their company would give them a voucher, let's say, and they can buy the ingredients, and then we all make it together. So you can be all over the country and do the classes. So that's been really great, and hopefully something we can keep up even after COVID.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
There's lads and ladies in the audience that were crawling their hands and knees over broken glass to get hold of a pint like that, and a packet of majors to go with it.
That's actually, do you know what it is? It's from my uncle's bar. And when I went into the bar, when we broke into the bar that's closed, myself and my cousin, I found that, and I just have such clear memories of not only that actual, like, that piece of equipment, but like my aunt smoking them, and it's kind of funny, but like it's a cool little thing anyway. But we use it all the time here.
Would you get a pack of majors? Would you get a pack of majors in San Francisco? You wouldn't, I'd say.
I don't even think. Do they still exist in Ireland? I don't think so. They're too strong.
I don't think that I've seen majors in a long time.
No, I don't think they exist.
I don't smoke, but my dad smokes, and I don't think they exist anymore.
But they're very strong. Oof. Geez, this is a lovely pint.
Don't be telling us that. We'll take her off the screen again. We brought her in too soon, I'd say.
Stabby bitch.
What did I make? Donna made some Irish coffees.
Donna has not made an Irish coffee yet. She is instead being co-hosting and asking good questions and looking very studious and very participatory. And she's getting top marks from the audience who don't want me to be here anymore. They just want Donna. So we know where people's loyalties lie now, and that's fine. You won't be seeing me.
It might be the polar neck there. You might need to just do a V-neck instead of a polar neck there. And then...
I'm down to a crew neck now. Look, people think my neck. People think my neck is after growing. Tonight. Yeah, I thought I'd bring the skin out. Yeah, bring the skin out for the night that's in it. Friday night in the town.
That's it. Yeah. How are things in San Diego?
Well, we just look down at Gas Lamp there. You can, the main kind of entertainment area of San Diego, and we can see it. And before they shut down all the bars for outdoor dining, they'd have the streets shut down so that they could move the tables and chairs out there. And that wasn't the case for the past few months. But now this weekend is the first time they put the barriers up against all the streets are closed, but it doesn't look like the bars are actually serving. So I don't think that, it's also quite cold by California standards down in San Diego at the moment. It's like 55, 56 degrees.
I can't deal with this cold.
For babies.
Oh, yeah.
I know, a giant jacket on, sir. Yeah, no.
I know. Although the first night that they announced that it was all opening up again in California, I was walking to pick up food from a restaurant, and they had this like a tent set up outside, and the wind was blowing now. It was probably about 45 degrees, and the wind was howling, and the sides of the tent were blowing, and there was a couple sitting in there eating their steaks in their coats and their hats and their scarves, sitting outside, determined to participate, which is astonishing.
There's a real determination in people, and to be safe. Like, I think that the determination of people to be jackasses is not an American trait, it is a worldwide trait. But it's so great to see people being really just, I think San Francisco especially, we've been the good little boys and girls since the beginning. Like, we've really tried very hard. So, well, with any luck, it's like yesterday I did feel like it was a turning point for whatever the next turn is. I don't know, but it did feel different today, yesterday than it did the day before.
Fingers crossed. Who knows where it goes? But yeah, look, you take whatever you can get when you can get it, I suppose. And I know you've been scrambling the last few days to get everything opened up, and you were sending us the videos and the pictures. But yeah, please God now that you can keep serving. Yeah,
our 9th opening in a year.
That's unreal.
What?
And you only wanted to open the one bar.
I used to love opening bars. It was my favorite part of the process of a bar, was the opening part. And now I'm like, I don't know. Give it a few years maybe. Oh Lord, no.
We're getting no sympathy from the rest of America for talking about 55-degree temperatures. No sympathy. It's 25 in New York, and snow all over. Yeah.
No, I
don't
don't
get
do
it,
well in
though.
those temperatures. Sorry.
Our blood has got thinner, here in California, and it's a different kind of cold. And it's been raining today, so they don't get it.
Was there snow in LA? Was there snow in Malibu? Did I hear that?
That was last weekend. It was bizarre, the pictures, because I was in Santa Monica and there was none of that. And then Malibu is only up the road and it looked like it was all covered in snow. So yeah, that was last week. Last night, it's just been absolutely pouring rain. It's just, I don't know what to do with myself. It's bizarre here when it's raining.
We got a break in it today, but it was very bad yesterday. But Jesus, 3 Irish people talking about the weather for 20 minutes.
I know, honestly, it's like we stopped each other on Main Street in Killaloo, County Clare.
I was like, "Where's John? We'll get a fourth one in here."
One more weather. One more mention of the weather before we stop talking about the weather. It's -18 in Toronto, so put that in your pipe.
No,
Oh my God.
No, that sounds. I hope you're inside, JJ. No thanks.
No, he's outside measuring the temperature.
With one leg up in the air.
Go back inside, JJ, for God's sake. We don't need to know your temperature. Go back in. Gillian, are you? So we had great crack with the lads from Buena Vista. I presume you have spent many a good morning or an afternoon at Buena Vista, have you?
I have, yeah. We've I don't know if I told you this before, but when I did my first J1 in San Francisco, I worked at a bar called Tiernan's Irish something or other, restaurant maybe, and it was right directly across the street from Buena Vista. It is now this fancy restaurant called Starbucks, I believe. I was working there, and I'm actually still really good friends with about 4 people that work there. One of them owns the bar next door as well, so it's great. It was a great networking thing for me at a very young age. But they would throw me in the front because I was over for the summer, and people would come in and they'd say, "Hey, is this the place for the famous Irish coffee?" And I'd say, "It sure is. Come on in." So I spent many an afternoon at Buena Vista, and I actually lived around the corner for a while. And so much so that actually on our menu we have a cocktail called Paying Our Dues, and it's our thank you to the Buena Vista. And how I managed to get the recipe was I went to the bar that many times and stuck my head over while they were making it and watched them. So ours is a slightly different riff on it, and we use a different type of coffee. We use just a bit of a plug for our Irish friends in San Francisco. Sorry, our light's a bit bright there. Whoa, there we go. Andy Town, named from Andy Town in Belfast. So the one of the owners, himself and his wife, he's Irish. He's from Andy Town. So yeah, it's great. We use their coffee, and then we just do a little slight spin on it, but it tastes pretty similar.
What's the difference? You guys have something. Is it the cream that's different?
Yeah. So we use maple cream. Sorry, there. We add maple syrup to our cream, and we shake it that way. So, but I was going to make you guys a Teeling's Irish coffee.
Yes.
That sounds okay.
So let's do that. So for our audience who just joined, we're on our second Irish coffee. We're using Teeling small batch. Look at this. That's either a very small bottle or I'm after getting very big. But this is Teeling small batch. Gillian's got the big one. And we're going to make an Irish coffee of this. This is a blended Irish whiskey that's finished in rum casks and is part of the core range. I picked it up in the little Trinity pack here of the 3. Yeah. This is a nice little pack here. It's got the single grain, single malt, and the blend. We
sold through a lot of them for Christmas. We sold a lot of those packs for Christmas. They were great. And I don't think the pot still is in there, but the pot still is fantastic.
Right.
Yeah, the Teeling stuff is really, really fun. If you haven't had it, you should go try. Start off with a small batch, and if you like that, maybe buy yourself or go to your local bar and see where they have theirs on the shelf.
Yeah, it's so
I'm going to sip on this neat. I'm going to sip on this neat. I'll be making a coffee in a second. But right, Gillian, this is all you now. You're in charge.
Okay, so the key to any, and I'm sure Donna will tell you this, and I'm sure the guys at Buena Vista said so too, the key is very, very warm glass for your cold hands and your warm heart. So instead of at the Buena Vista they use sugar cubes. We make a simple syrup, and the ratio that we use is 1 part sugar to 1 part water. We just do about a half an ounce of that. So if you don't have measuring, if you don't have like jiggers at home, just remember that a half an ounce is 1 tablespoon. So everyone has a tablespoon at home in their kitchen, so you can always use that as a measure. And then next we're going to take our bottle of tealings that I didn't open. Oops. How was Polo? Was he any good?
Oh no, he was awful altogether.
Yeah, you know what he is.
He's sitting there in the background now watching, but he was giving us advice on which ski slopes to not go to, and he was giving us some good information about about COVID and snow, which was unsolicited yet welcomed.
No better man. He's a great fella for it. I'm going to do, and just because these glasses are small, I'm just going to do 1.25 ounces, which are Friday night.
Sure it is. And we're out.
3 ounces. I give mine a little stir at this stage, so the glass is still piping hot now. And obviously, because we're at a bar, I have my big thing of coffee to the side here. I'm just going to fill it up. It's far from a French press I was raised, but their French presses are great in this scenario. And you want to give it another stir now. And then I'm just going to take my fresh cream. And then I actually just use the spoon. I know the lads in at Buena Vista don't. So yeah, we just throw a bit on there.
Oh, looks so good.
And then, yeah, sure, maybe Donna will give us cheers, would she?
Come on now, you made it.
No, because I have none. I only use yours. I sometimes, Donna and I may imbibe a little bit, and as she's imbibing and I turn the recorder on and I just kind of nab hers.
All right. Well, I made one with you because I was dying for one. So here we go. Well-behaved women rarely make history. So let's have some more fun and drink some more whiskey.
Hey!
Cheers.
Sancha, cheers.
Cheers.
I think for me, a really good Irish whiskey, like obviously the coffee is really important, but I think really cold cream. So that's the first thing that you get there. And then the warmth of the coffee, and then even maybe a touch more whiskey than you actually enjoy. Do you know what I mean? Like strong, like so you taste the whiskey through the coffee. That's why I love the smaller glasses, because I feel like you kind of accomplish that. Sometimes you can water stuff down. Same with a lot of cocktails, but like it's just the right proportions, and it's just the most perfect drink in the world.
Yeah, the 6 ounces is definitely better proportions. Sometimes you get it in, a mug, and that's usually 8 ounces. It's fine. It just probably means that you're getting maybe more like 6 ounces of coffee rather than 3.5 or 4. So you're really kind of covering up the whiskey. So these ones are obviously great, but every bar can't have them. But if you can get one for home, I think they're nice ones to have at home.
Oh yeah, they're great. Yeah, they're absolutely great. And then actually these are we actually bought these from the Buena Vista. And what's the gentleman's name that owns Buena Vista again? I can't remember his name. Sorry.
We didn't meet the owner, but we met Kevin, the general manager, Kevin Jones.
Isn't it
they were very grateful. They heard what we were doing, where we were naming a cocktail after them, and they gave us a bottle of Buena Vista with their label on it. And
lovely.
We have their napkins, and we put all our drinks, our Irish coffees out on those drinks. So it's a great little nod, because I mean, poor old Joe, Joseph Sheridan.
We're going to dive into him. We feel like he might have been whitewashed out of history, maybe, but we're going to bring him back.
I hope so.
He's a legend.
Yeah, I'm a bit of a history nut, so I also just kind of like didn't really think about him until you brought him up, and then started kind of going down that road. So
we were texting during the week, and we were talking about. I was talking about Joe Sheridan, and I was looking at the Buena Vista website, and just noted how he probably wasn't front and center of the website. You know, it's clearly about more today and what they've done to bring it to the fore, which you can understand. But Joe Sheridan himself, obviously the inventor of it, there's not a lot known about him, sadly. And when we started researching during the week, I mentioned to you, Gillian, that he was. I found his grave online, and it's in Oakland, California, like, and just across the bay there from over the bridge. And you said, "Sure, I'm in Oakland tomorrow." And I know if you went anyway to try and find poor Joe's grave, and didn't you end up in the wrong cemetery?
I did. Well, what happened was as many things are. It wasn't my fault. What happened was I put the the thing into Google. And as soon as I was coming up the road, I was like, oh, this is an absolutely stunning graveyard. And I've actually been here before. I went for a walk through it one time. And I got to the front gate, and I feel bad now because hey, how's it going? I feel bad because I was lying in a graveyard. So the graveyard was closed, and there was a security guard at the gate. And I pulled up, and I texted Donna about 3 weeks ago. We were over at the Buena Vista, and the guy asked me if I wanted a single or a double. And in my excitement, I didn't know what. I was like, I'll take a double. And then I was like, I don't want a double. So I had the little bottle of Tully at my house. So I put the Tully in my pocket and got into the car. And when I got to the gate, the guy goes, sorry, we're closed. And I said, my dad, his great uncle, is buried in the graveyard, and he just asked me to drop something at the grave. And he goes,
oh, she's so Irish.
He goes, go in and talk to them in the office. And so I drove up to the office, and I walked in, and obviously it's a graveyard, so it's a very reverent space. And I was quiet, and the lady was like, can I help you? And I said, yes, my father asked me to drop something at a relative of his grave. And she was like, oh, well, do you know where it is? I was like, I do. It's plot B, circle S, da, da, da. So she pulled out the book, and she started looking through it. And she said, what was his name? And I said, Joseph. His middle name is quite unusual.
Is it?
Yeah, it's like Cornelius, or like, but it's Joseph whatever Sheridan. And she said she heard Sheridan, and she goes, I think you're in the wrong graveyard. And I said, she goes, we actually shared the fence with St. Mary's. That's the Catholic graveyard. You're in the Jewish graveyard. And I said, okay, no bother. So I got back in the car and drove just one block over and around, and the gates were wide open. There was nobody in the office. There was nobody in the church. There was no map. There was no key. There was no anything. So I walked around for about 15 minutes, and I went, I'll never find this grave. So I'll go back again when I know that the office is open, and I'll try, and I'll drop a bottle of Tully, a little baby bottle of Tully for him there.
Aww.
Maybe a baby powers. Give him baby powers.
Actually, do you know what I have them here? Look, hang on. I have a baby powers.
There you go.
Aww.
I have a baby Tully.
Aww.
There you go. Lovely.
I have a baby Blackbush. And I walked into that one, I know. And then I have a baby Guinness.
He's probably not that thirsty, but you could choose one of them.
Is that baby Guinness, like Guinness in there?
Yeah, it says it. I did buy it at a tourist trap, but in fairness, the tourist trap was next to my house. So I bought it at McGuire's on the Hill of Tara. And I asked them, and they said that it was, but my accent maybe sounded a bit American, so they might have been regarding me.
There's only one way to find out.
Yeah. Live on camera, Gillian dies.
We're so what have we got left to do tonight? We have to go back to Polo still. We have a couple more Irish coffees to make. Gillian, you have a bar to run. And,
I do.
And guests to keep happy. You've been a legend. We didn't expect you to come on. We had you written off, never to be seen again.
Just like the Me team in 1996, 97, 99. Yeah, so that's what it is. For the comeback kids.
you've recovered well, and you're back in our good books again now that we have you.
There you go.
So you'll be invited back again. A couple of 2 questions before you go. You make that Irish coffee typically with Tullamore D.E.W. We've already had a Tullamore D.E.W. obviously coffee from the Buena Vista. Why is tealing a small batch a good whiskey for an Irish coffee?
I think I love to play around with tealings for cocktails. I think there's obviously when you're doing stuff in mass in a bar scenario, you have a profit and a margin, and you have to you work with a certain line. But there's certain blends that masters make, and they do it particularly with bartenders in mind. And tealings just happens to be one of those for us that I mean, obviously there's a lot of the Irish whiskies that do go towards this. I know, yeah, but sorry, it's at 6:30. But it's one of those. It's a really great versatile whiskey to work with. For I like using it in like anything that's like heavy, like a old fashioned, or you don't mess around with it too much. And I think even with the coffee, like I said before, when you slightly over pour the whiskey, you get that feeling, and it really pushes through. It's a great. We love tealing. We love all our Irish whiskies here, but we love our tealings definitely. And they definitely represent a new sort of Dublin, a new pot, the Dublin pot still coming back to life. They represent like young lads, with a little bit of help from their dad, young lads just like going at it and like showing everybody that it's not just Jameson out there. Like there's so many different types of things to play with. So
fair play. That's good enough for us.
You up the lads?
Let me see. Was there one last question? No, I think you answered that. Although there was a great interest in your the levels of whiskey in there compared to the 1/4 inch of space left for the coffee. So there was a few cheers and claps for that.
What would you say you put in?
Meniscus, always meniscus.
Did you put in? Would you say close to 2 ounces?
I put in about an ounce. We pour 1.25 ounces, 1.5 ounces in these guys.
Cool.
Yeah. I'm not sure what they do at Buena Vista. For my gawking over the bar, it looked like 1.25 ounces.
Yeah, he said 1.25 ounces earlier on.
That's right.
Oh, there you go. The eyes
Gillian, you're a legend. Thanks a million for joining us, and we're already planning a trip up to San Francisco once it's possible. I'm going to be working behind the bar in the Buena Vista, and then doing a shift at Casements apparently.
Brilliant. And Donna's going to be supervising, and I'll be chief cheerleader.
Perfect. Good enough.
That'll be a heavy one.
All right, Jill, thanks a million.
We do get together. Oh, Jesus.
I know.
It'll be a good night. Sláinte.
Cheers, guys.
Perfect, yeah.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
See you soon. Bye.
That was a surprise. She made it.
I saw her sneaking in there, and I saw her getting closer to the pint of Guinness, and I thought, now's my chance. We'll put her on screen just as she sups the pint. Just as she sups it.
I have to say, they do a fantastic pint of Guinness up there. So I went up in November and spent the day at Casements with Gillian and a big crew. And they kept serving me Irish coffees. It was actually really bad. I had way too many. The next day was not good, but the Guinness was on fire. I mean, she has great cocktails, a good cocktail list, but I think they're going to be famous for their Guinness and their Irish coffees, to be honest.
That's a fine looking Guinness, to be fair. And you can't say that about many places in the United States, sadly. But when you find a good pint, you stick to it.
Yeah.
Like glue. We're going to go to Polo, who's coming to us from the top of a mountain, oddly, with his skis there on his back. Polo, put yourself off mute there. We'll bring you on. Oh, can you hear me? There he is. Unmute your mic, good sir. Unmute your mic. There he is.
Yeah, I had to turn the mic. Cold isn't good for the microphones, Barry, so I had to turn the microphone off. But we're surviving up here at the resort. I can't go for a piss. I can't go for a piss for the whole weekend, but we're hoping for the best. I'm not getting COVID up here.
We didn't sign up for a ski session. We got one anyway. Here we are. We're full of snow and devoid of and a drought of music. But such is the nature of a lock-in.
Yeah, so such is the nature. It's good to see Jill on time there, or she's back at work. She'd gone doing something else. So,
well, the only reason she was on time was because she wasn't supposed to be there at all, and so she accidentally arrived on time.
Yeah. I think it kind of works like that, doesn't it? It's like if you have a kid and you tell the kid to get a D, he'd get an A. But if you told him to get an A, he'd probably get a D. So you do like the opposite of what.
Yeah, Barry told her to not bother coming on, and then she ended up jumping in. So it worked out perfectly.
I said, don't ever show your face here again if you're not coming on time. Don't show your face on the lock-in.
Well, I'm no expert, but does that not work for not just Jill, but like quite a lot of women? Like if you're just saying, listen, whatever, don't show up, it's grand.
I don't know. I actually use that technique a lot with men.
There you go.
The West Coast too long, Donna. That's what.
Polo drawing again very unusual delineations between men and women's pursuits of life and what one does versus the other.
Francisco, you're a progressive city, but I'm a raving sexist.
And that's why Harry picked you.
Well, we had a good time. Thanks, Polo. That's it. He's gone.
I might play.
That's the first warning. The second warning is a schlep.
So I play harmonica relatively badly, lads. But I wanted to play one. We play maybe an older Irish song, and then but this one goes out to. Unfortunately, this year I think between us here in San Francisco, there's a crew of us. We're all very good friends. This one goes out to anyone who's recently left San Francisco. There's a whole gang of you who might be watching. Big shout out to Keith and Paul and Dermot and Avi and anyone else who's planning on leaving. We're big shout out to all of you anyway. So. Summer's evening, drunk as hell, I lay there nearly lifeless. An old man in the corner sang where the water lilies grow. And on the jukebox, Johnny sang about a thing called love. And it's how you kid, what's your name, and who do you know? The blood and death of a sleeping sky, I lay there nearly lifeless. The bodies of the other men lay scattered all around. Some cursed, some bled, some cursed, some cursed, some bled, some more. And the only thing that I could see was a pair of brown eyes just looking at me. When we got back, labeled parts 1 to 3, there were no pair of brown eyes here waiting for me. And a rove and a rove and a rove and I'll go. A rove and a rove and a rove and I'll go. A rove and a rove and a rove and I'll go. For a pair of brown eyes. For a pair of brown eyes. He looked at me, all I could do was hate him. While Ray and Philomena sang of my elusive dreams. I saw the roads and rolling hills where his brown eyes were with. And I thought of a pair of my own brown eyes that waited once for me. That waited once for me. And a rove and a rove and a rove A rove and a rove and a rove and I'll go. A rove and a rove and a rove and I'll go for a pair of brown eyes. For a pair of brown eyes. So drunk as hell, I left that place, sometimes crawling, sometimes walking. I heard the sounds from the breeze and I gave the walls a talking. I heard the songs long ago from the old canal, and the birds were whistling in the trees, and the wind was gently laughing, and a rove and a rove and a rove and I'll go. A rove and a rove and a rove and I'll go. A rove and a rove and a rove and I'll go for a pair of brown eyes. For a pair of brown eyes. And a rove and a rove and a rove and I'll go. A rove and a rove and a rove and I'll go. A rove and a rove and a rove and I'll go for a pair of brown eyes.
Polo, you sing better than you ski.
I definitely sing better than I can talk random politically correct things.
Well, we'll just keep you on the
that was
guitar. So
brilliant. I love the harmonica as well. That like really brings you back home. My granddad used to always play the harmonica, and I haven't seen it in a while, so I love it.
Oh, yeah.
great feedback too. That's a cheers. Coming in strong.
Do you normally play Irish music? Is that like your typical style, or do you mix it up?
No. Do you know what? Like, actually, I guess I only got into playing Irish music when I left Ireland. Which may be a common thing for a lot of Irish people, isn't it? You get a lot into music from home when you leave home. But I'm I guess more of a folk person, or maybe a rock person and that kind of thing. I kind of butcher a lot of good Irish songs. So I guess Irish songs wouldn't be number one, but I do love playing them, and especially with a glass of whiskey or whatever. You know, it brings you home to a certain extent. So they're great songs, you know, to have, and some of those old songs are magic. So
definitely.
Yeah.
Polo, will you come back again soon to us?
I will, Barry. Of course I will.
And you can, we have requests from the audience for you to just maybe have like a portion of the lock-in that's just you giving advice, like worldly advice to people that we could maybe kind of follow the religion of Polo, you know, like how do we do that?
Polo's top 10 tips.
I'd like to say that, well, the ski resorts would be broke.
Yeah, he doesn't want to put anybody out of business.
You'd all be a lot safer. Yeah, but I don't know. Yeah, I could come up with a good few lists. Actually, I have some good thoughts.
I bet you could.
Yeah,
we've enjoyed some of them this evening, and I get the feeling we're only scratching the surface of your good thoughts.
Maybe I should just play the music, and I'll leave my thoughts.
No, we need the banter too. Comes hand in hand.
No,
this isn't banter. It's very serious.
This is actual advice. It's not just advice. In fact, I get the sense that this is instruction, and we must listen and take action accordingly.
Yes. You must listen. Yeah, hear the call. It's either me or Jill, so you know you get some weird advice from Jill as well.
Maybe
would.
we'll have the two of you on, and you can debate the world. It's like we'll tune into a couple of like a bag of rabbits. You'd be as mad as the two of you talking to each other.
It'd be like the Vincent Brown show. I don't think Vincent's on TV anymore, but it'd be like the Vincent Brown show. I think Jill might be more of a socialist than me.
Well, listen, on that lovely note, on that note, we'll thank Polo for his music and his great words, and for the many that he didn't share with us.
As we do.
If I had one of those whistles, right, go on, Polo. Listen, thanks a million.
Thank you, Polo.
Hopefully we can have a drink with you soon, buddy. All right, thanks for joining in.
Take care.
Cheers.
There goes Polo. We're only scratching the surface of good old Polo. We're only scratching the surface, and we might not want to dig deeper.
Right?
I know we will. All right, it's just you and me now. That's it. Cocktail time, Irish coffee time.
Do you think we should talk about the story then before we dive into some more cocktails?
The story Irish whiskey from Stories and Sips, or is there something else you're referring to?
Well, go
Another
on,
story.
you've got the floor. Yeah. I was talking about the original Irish coffee story, but if you want to take it as a plug, please be my guest.
No, I will not use this platform for personal gain. I will yield the floor to the good lady from Dublin, from near the airport, to share with us. Let's start talking about. Look, this is an airport story after all, and you coming from near the airport.
I know my airports.
You know your airports. I suppose we should start by acknowledging that the Irish coffee, of course, wasn't born in San Francisco. It has become more famous and perhaps infamous as a result of Americans' thirst and love for all things Irish. But the Buena Vista Cafe has, of course, done an incredible job of showcasing Ireland and Irish whiskey through their coffees. But they didn't invent it. But they like to say they perfected it. Yeah.
So, should I take the story?
Off you go.
All right. So, as the story goes, in 1942, transatlantic flights used to stop at the Foynes Airport in Ireland, which was, doesn't exist anymore. It was one of those airports where the airplanes would actually land on the water, right? We're in the 1940s. Everybody would get off the plane, go in and have a sandwich or something to kill time while the airplane refueled before it went on to America. So it was a lot of interesting people who were stopping over in Ireland, kind of unbeknownst to them, on a little pit stop. So as the story goes, one evening, it was very cold and stormy night, and there's two versions. It's either it was too stormy for the flight to take off, or the flight took off and it was too stormy, so I had to turn back and come back to the Foynes Airport. Everybody had to jump off the plane. They went into the airport. They were absolutely frozen, so cold. And so there was a chef there. His name was Joe Sheridan, and he decided to put together what he called a Gaelic coffee. So he put Irish whiskey, sugar, coffee, and lightly whipped heavy cream, and he served it to all the guests on the airplane. And what happened as a result was people loved this cocktail so much that it became the famous drink of the Foynes Airport. So we're talking about a very tiny airport. It's not Dublin Airport. It's a tiny airport in the middle of Ireland. It's the 1940s, and this is word of mouth. So people are talking about this Gaelic coffee or this Irish coffee, and word spreads as far as San Francisco. And a famous travel writer, his name was Stan de la Plaine, we were talking about him earlier. His local was called the Buena Vista, which was a regular bar at the time. And he had read about and heard about this Irish coffee. So he found out what the ingredients were, and he sat down with his bartender, the owner of the Buena Vista, and they started to try to make this Irish coffee. They tried different glassware, they tried different measurements, they tried to whip the cream a lot, whip the cream a little. They couldn't get the perfect texture and the perfect consistency and the cream to sit on top. So only solution was to fly to Ireland, to fly to the Foynes airport, and to sit down with the chef, Joe Sheridan, and get the perfect recipe from the creator himself. So they got the recipe and they brought it back to San Francisco with them. And they also brought Joe Sheridan back to San Francisco with them. And they brought the Irish coffee, introduced it to the world via the Buena Vista in San Francisco. So this was probably 10 years after it started in the 1940s, and it was brought all the way to the Buena Vista. And of course, as we know, as we've talked to them tonight, still the biggest Irish coffee account in the world, 2,000 Irish coffees a day, and considered the perfect recipe because it was created by our man Joe in the Foynes airport. That's
Bravo.
my story. Do you have I'd love any debates or anything you got to chime in on that, but that's the story that I have.
It's a great story, and this is where it starts to get interesting, because there are so many different versions and there are so many different accounts, and I think the history is typically written by the victor, and how do you want the story to be shaped? And depending on how Buena Vista will tell the story, or how Foynes Airport and the museum that's there now will tell the story, will vary a little bit or differ a little bit. The Foynes Airport didn't last very long after Joe joined, because transatlantic travel had started to take off, and there were now what they called land planes that could actually land on runways. And so I think in 1945, Joe and the team from Foynes moved over to across the estuary from County Limerick to County Clare to what became known as Shannon Airport. Back then it was an area called Renana, and it became known as Shannon Airport. And yeah, it's a remarkable story about that plane taking off and coming back. And there was one line I saw in one account which I thought was either a great storyline or was true, where one of the Americans who was had been cold, as you said, on the plane, was warmed by both that hot coffee and the whiskey that was inside it, and notoriously went up to Joe Sheridan and asked if that was Brazilian coffee, to which he replied, "No, it's Irish coffee." And I thought, what a great line, that's your punchline in any good story, I guess. It's remarkable. But yeah, that Joe Sheridan created this thing. My understanding is that a few weeks after that, I think he served it originally in like a mug. And a few weeks later, he served it in a stemmed glass and presented it to the catering manager at the airport, himself a famous man we'll talk a little bit about. And he showed him and said, "How's this for eye appeal?" And he said, "You're onto something there. That's perfect." And so this Irish coffee became the thing in Foynes and eventually at Shannon Airport. But what I get very fascinated about is this story of Joe Sheridan himself. And I was trying to piece together his life, going from before Irish coffee to after Irish coffee. And
right.
There are gaps, but there are some things that we do know. So we know that he was born in Northern Ireland. He was working in Dublin around 1942 when he saw an advert for a job in Foynes for a head chef. And famously, he wrote a letter to the airport, very simply stating, "Dear sir, I'm the man for the job, Joe Sheridan." And they invited him down for an interview, and they were taken by his confidence in his ability to take this job, and he was given the job on the spot. And after this, I've heard various versions of the story. Some stories say that Jack Coppler and Stan Delaplane came over, and he wouldn't give them the recipe, and he said, "No, hire me in the Buena Vista and I'll make it for you." And famously, he was brought over to San Francisco. I've heard that account. I've also heard an account actually I actually pulled this up before our show tonight. I found an article in the San Francisco Chronicle written by Stan Delaplane in 1954, who had gone back to Shannon Airport and had asked where Joe Sheridan was, and he was told that he had gone to Chicago to serve drinks at the Chicago airport, to which he replied, "Well, that's a terrible tragedy, because they're not able to serve drinks in the Chicago airport, because at the time it was owned by a school district and it was a dry airport." And apparently the bartender replied, "Isn't it an awful sad thing to try and go and make your fortune in America?" And so that was one account from 1954. And there's other accounts that say that he came to San Francisco, which we know he did. And we know he worked at the Buena Vista, but we don't know for how long. And I found a record of him joining the Seamen's Mission and the local Seamen's Union in San Francisco, and him taking a job as a chef. on a ship. Now, we don't know how long after that was that he arrived in San Francisco, but all that we do know is that there's a big gap, because from about 1952, 1953, the last record of him in San Francisco is somebody in the Buena Vista Cafe saying the last time we ever saw Joe was him sailing out under the Golden Gate Bridge. And 9 years later, his body was brought back to Oakland for burial, and he died in the Marshall Islands, which is a long way from San Francisco. But there's no record at all as to what happened to him in San Francisco, why he stayed, why he left, whether he stayed, for how long, why he left, and what happened to him in that 9 year period when he worked on ships, and how did he die in the Marshall Islands, and why did he get brought back to Oakland, California. So that's where it gets really fascinating. And I don't know, I'm going to reach out to Foynes to see if they have answers on that, because they might have more answers than anything I've been able to find.
Yeah, I definitely know that there's been some people who have dived really deep into this topic. I think there's a book on the Irish coffee where the guy, I don't know his name, sorry, the guy who wrote it, but went really, really deep into records and it was less about Joe and more about piecing up the real story. But I'm sure there was a lot of investigation into Joe as well. I mean, the one thing that you can definitely tell is he's a legend. He might have some secretive portions about his life, but there's one thing he did, and he did it right, is create this fantastic drink. And I mean, you can just tell he's a character by the way that you said he applied to the job. You know, people come in cold from an airplane, and he decides to whip them up an Irish coffee, you know, create a drink out of the blue. And he probably did get headhunted over to Chicago and headhunted over to the Buena Vista. I know there's a picture out there of him serving an Irish coffee to Marilyn Monroe, which is pretty iconic. Yeah. So, I don't know. I mean, it would be fascinating to find out more about him. But I definitely believe, even though there might be flaws in the story, I definitely believe that he is the one who created it. It's
also well known that the original whiskey that would have been used, that Joe used, is Powers. And we have that on good advice and good counsel directly from Foynes, and Powers themselves have looked into this, and it was what would have been a pot still whiskey back then. So in 1942, that was before blended whiskies in Ireland. You had pot still whiskey, you had malt whiskey, but you didn't really have blended whiskies, and so it would have been a pot still whiskey. And I also found record of that in the San Francisco Chronicle too, from the same man. In fact, I'll put it up here on the screen. But Stan Delaplane, that beat writer for the San Francisco Chronicle, did a little. He had these things called postcards from Shannon. Let me see if this is the one that's got a mention of this pot still whiskey. I think it is.
Yeah, you know, pot still would have been the most popular Irish whiskey at the time. Pot still whiskey was Irish whiskey. Like, that was the definition, essentially. And I really believe that blended whiskey was really specifically made for the American palate. Let's see what you have here.
So here you see, Irish coffee has become a noble experiment in San Francisco these days. I claim a modest share in this, since I ruined a bottle of the best John Powers trying to make the cream float. For some reason, cream floats beautifully in Dublin, but for me in the States, it sinks. So this is from, let me see what date this is. This is Stanton Delaplane's San Francisco postcard on Wednesday, March 17th, St. Patrick's Day, 1954.
Wow. That's so fantastic. That's really
isn't
cool.
It amazing? Yeah. I think it is. And I think we've got varying accounts of what year, whether it was 1952, 54, 53. And I think that's probably less important than what has occurred since. But it is, I love trying to piece all these bits together. And I'd love to tie all of these things together into the full trail, from Joe applying for his job all the way through to poor Joe being laid to rest in the cemetery in Oakland, and what probably a challenging life he had, and no doubt a hard life he had too after coming over to the US.
And, you know, when did the recipe get defined? You know what I mean? Like, I'm sure at the start he was whipping it up however he could in the airport, or, you know, like you said, he started with a mug and then he went to glass. And when did it become this perfect recipe that it's now kind of widely accepted that it is? And, you know, clearly there's a debate in which whiskey was in there first and which whiskey should be in there. But I think that pot still whiskey was it was really the most popular Irish whiskey. It was whiskey. If you ordered a whiskey in America, you got an Irish whiskey, and quite often that was a pot still whiskey. You didn't get a bourbon, you didn't get a rye, you didn't get a scotch. You got an Irish whiskey, most likely a pot still. So we've seen pot still whiskey like decline, unfortunately, and it's only really started to have its comeback in, what would you say, like maybe the past 10, 12 years. And like you guys know that I adore pot still whiskey, so very excited to see each brand coming out with its different pot stills, and I think a pot still whiskey and an Irish coffee wouldn't be bad at all.
Well, that's what I'll be making now after you make your coffee. But before we do that, here's Joe Sheridan giving the recipe. And so this is also Stan Delaplane's postcards from Shannon or from San Francisco. And you'll see here, he says, what is more warming, said Joe Sheridan, than Irish whiskey, smooth as a maiden's kiss, to take the chill from their poor shaking hands, said Joe. We will fill the glass with coffee, black as Cromwell's heart. We'll top it off with a floating inch of Irish cream. And we've been serving Gaelic coffee since, said the Shannon Airport man. And so this is where Stan asks, where's Joe Sheridan now? And the Shannon man said, Joe Sheridan went to Chicago to make his fortune. The last I've heard, he was chef at the Chicago airport. And he asked if he knew that Chicago's airport was dry, a technicality of state law, since the school system owns the property. Poor Joe, sighed the airport man. A cruel thing it is to go to America to become rich. How about that?
A cruel thing indeed.
Cruel thing. And many have, many followed Joe, many went before him. But yeah, I think it's really interesting, isn't it? These old little nuggets that start to piece together this story. And I'm going to keep following this. I'm going to try and find this full story.
I'm really passionate about it. Like, not only the story and the history, which I think is so interesting, and it all starts with, like, you know, one Irish character, which I love, but also the fact that, you know, Irish whiskey, like I just said, was the biggest spirit in the world for many, many, many years. It dominated in America, especially. It was Irish whiskey. Everybody was drinking Irish whiskey. They didn't even know they were drinking Irish whiskey. They were just drinking whiskey. That was Irish whiskey. So it's interesting to me that there's not a ton of Irish whiskey classic cocktails. You know, like there's the Irish coffee, there's like a Tipperary, you know, there's a few things that stand out, but there's not as much as, say, bourbon has or whatever, because we kind of had our decline. But this Irish coffee is one of the classics, and it has stood the test of time. And every bar in the world should have an Irish coffee on their menu, in my opinion, and restaurant, because anybody who hasn't tried one, I don't think know what they're in for. It's dessert. It's breakfast. It's like a sugar treat, and it's got your Irish whiskey. Like, it's everything in a glass. So I'm very interested in how it's succeeded and continued to have its success, and now obviously adapt into multiple different variations, right? So we've seen Jill do her variation on an Irish coffee, but around the States, we've seen tons of different versions. So if anybody knows the Aaron Rose in New Orleans, you've got your frozen Irish coffee. Of course, the only problem with the frozen Irish coffee at the Aaron Rose is that they don't use Irish whiskey in it. However, if you've tasted it, it is unbelievable. It comes out of kind of like a McDonald's shake machine. It's in a really cool bar. The bar is like as authentic and cool and like New Orleans, like kind of as it gets. But this frozen Irish coffee is iconic. Anybody who, similarly to San Francisco, get off the plane, go have a traditional Irish coffee at the Buena Vista, get off the plane to New Orleans, you go to the Aaron Rose. And I've watched lots of bars around the country try to do a redo of the Aaron Rose version of a frozen Irish coffee, using Irish whiskey though. For instance, Nickel City in Texas is famous for their frozen Irish coffee. Similarly comes out of an ice cream machine, so like a 99 machine. That is unbelievably tasty. Nickel City is a well-known cocktail bar, and it's probably their biggest selling cocktail. I've seen frozens all over the place. I've seen twists on the traditional. And then I have my favorite one that I'm going to make, which is an iced Irish coffee, I call it, I guess.
Well, it's over to you. So, Donna, lead us through your iced Irish coffee, and then
okay.
Yeah, a
Just
real twist on it.
I have to go get ice though, so give me 2
Grand.
seconds.
You work away there. Yeah, no problem. For those of you who are still here, thank you so much. For those of you who just joined us, you're very welcome. This is a celebration of Irish coffee and Irish whiskey. We've been going through different Irish coffees and their history and their story through our wonderful guests from the Buena Vista in San Francisco, Casement's Bar in San Francisco as well. Donna's going to make a version of the Irish coffee. I'm going to make a couple of versions of the Irish coffee. And it's really just a chance for us to celebrate what kept Irish whiskey alive in the 1960s and 70s was the sale of Irish coffees around the world. And if it wasn't for the sale of Irish coffees in places like the Buena Vista, we may not have even had the ability to find ourselves in 1966 in a place where 3 distilleries could come together and form Irish distillers. But yeah, tonight's a celebration. And if you have any Irish coffees that you've made tonight, I'd love to see pictures of them. Share them in the group, tag me, tag Donna. We'd love to take a look at them. Donna's going to rate them all out of 10, or she's going to give her Caesars thumbs up or thumbs down, depending on her.
Well, I love different recipes. You know, there's so many ways that you can take this because coffee has become so trendy. Like, think of how many ways you can get a coffee at Starbucks. You know what I mean? So think of all the variations you can take this. There's some amazing mixologists that have played around with different ways to kind of pull out the flavors. Maybe they're going to serve it as a martini. Maybe they're going to serve it over ice. Maybe they serve it hot, but they have a twist on it, like Gillian. There's just so many ways to take it. So definitely share them. And I'll demo you through my second favorite type of Irish coffee. Okay, so I don't have a great display area, but I'm just going to walk us through it. So I've got ice in my shaker. If you don't have a shaker, you can always use like a jam jar or just something with a lid on it so that you can shake it up good and it's not going to splatter everywhere. So I'm going to use Tully and it's 1.5 ounces of Tullamore D.E.W into your shaker. Then I'm going to use my homemade Irish cream. But there's a good recipe for homemade Irish cream on my Facebook if anybody wants it, or I can share it on Stories and Sips. But you can also use Bailey's, you can use Kerrygold, Carolyn's, whatever is your favorite Irish cream. So we're going to do 3/4 ounce of Irish cream. Pop it in there. And I do just 1/4 ounce of simple syrup. So just a little bit to give it that little bit of sweetness. And remember, simple syrup, for anybody who isn't used to making cocktails at home, is simply sugar and water. So sometimes you boil the water and stir it into the sugar. If you don't even have time for that, you can use cold water. Just make sure it's stirred in really good. And what it does is it gives you that sweet liquid without, you know, having pieces of sugar in your drink. So simple syrup, don't buy it. Don't ever buy it. Just use the sugar that you have in your house and a bit of water. And finally, I have some cold brew concentrate. So it's basically cold brew coffee. You can also make this at home yourself. It's kind of hard to use coffee cooled down because cold brew is a little bit stronger than that. But another great kind of alternative is espresso. If you have a little espresso machine, use 1 ounce of espresso. So I'm going to use 1 ounce of cold brew concentrate. And that's it. Very simple ingredients. I'm going to give it a little shake. And then you're going to put some fresh ice in your glass. I'm going to use a big cube and put it into maybe a nice rocks glass and strain it in there. Sorry, I have to come off camera for it. A nice garnish for this is like a little mint leaf or some like espresso beans. But essentially it comes out looking like this. And I kind of describe it as the flavors of like a latte. Like it's creamy, it's sweet, it's kind of almost got that chocolatiness about it. And you've got your Irish whiskey in there. So real, like really nice one to whip up for your friends, especially if you have people who don't really know Irish whiskey or haven't really explored it before. Get them to taste something like this and you'll blow their mind. They'll be like, there's Irish whiskey in this? It tastes like chocolate.
When are you sending that down for us to taste down here?
I'll whip it up for you when I see you. It's very simple.
That's a great one.
It's really easy, and it's really tasty. And there's so many ways you can take it. I mean, I know the last time, or I think it was the first time I was on with you, Barry, we talked about how popular gin had become in Ireland.
Yeah.
You know, and just how it had soared. I think sales were up like 65%, like in the matter of less than a year. Well, I'll tell you what the new thing is in Ireland, because I just got back at the start of this month. Espresso martinis.
Is that right?
Every man, woman, and child is sipping on espresso martinis in Ireland. So much so that, like, it's actually, I can't keep up. Like, it's one after the other. Yeah. And my sister had to ban herself. So my sister Kelly is very partial to an espresso martini. And she said to me on nights out, do not let me have an espresso martini. And I'm like, okay, no problem. First thing she does when she sits down, I'll have an espresso martini. It's on every menu. It's all over Ireland. Everybody's drinking it. But it's really interesting to watch the Irish trends, like, versus American. Yeah. And I wonder if it's one that's going to come over. But a lot of people make an espresso martini with vodka. But it's actually really, really, really tasty with whiskey. It gives it a little bit more body. You know, vodka's kind of known for being smooth and almost tasteless.
Don't be putting vodka in anything. Vodka's used for cleaning coins or something.
Exactly, that's what I'm saying. So try yourself an espresso martini. I think it's equal, or an ounce and a half of Irish whiskey, an ounce of espresso, and an ounce of Kahlua. Shake it up, and you've got an espresso martini.
That sounds lovely, actually. That's
really tasty.
That's kind of we're heading in the direction of Jameson cold brew then.
You could. I've got some cold brew here, actually. I could have used that for my drink.
That too. I have some there behind me.
That would be lovely in an espresso martini, actually. I haven't tried it myself, but I'll take a picture when I do. But yeah, there's so many fun ways to do it. What are you shaking up?
There's nothing in it. I just decided to shake the shaker. No, I'm just kidding. No, it's whipping cream. I've got a heavy whipping cream for my coffee that I'm making. But I was looking at because the lads showed us theirs was 36% fat. Is that what it was? Is it 36% fat? Is that what it's referring to? I couldn't find any fat numbers on the front of this or on the back of it.
Yeah, you know, mine is just standard as well. Obviously, that's the perfect Irish coffee. You're going to use the 36% fat, but I just have heavy whipping cream. And the trick, you know, obviously they've got their little machine or whatever, but like I said, I've had moments where I've had to have an Irish coffee ready, like, to be on TV in 30 seconds. And what I do is kind of what you're doing there, shake it, but I shake it 50 times. 50 times does. You know what? I think if it wasn't the guys at the Buena Vista who told me, it was the guys at Tom Bergen's here in LA.
Brushing your teeth.
Yeah. Do you know Tom Bergen's? Have you heard of them?
No, okay. I've not.
So they have quite an interesting history too. So they're kind of known as the LA Buena Vista. So unfortunately for the bar, it's been closed and reopened a few times in the past few years. So it lost its kind of it's ruling. Yeah, exactly. But everybody still knows it as the best Irish coffee. It has a sign outside that says, like, the legendary Irish coffee, and they use the same recipe as the Buena Vista, and they're often referred to as well as the Buena Vista for the iconic, the original, bringing it to America and stuff. Yeah. So they reopened actually just before the pandemic. I think it was December of 2020 or December of 2019. So they're building back their reputation, unfortunately, through a pandemic, but they're still there and they're making great Irish coffees as well. So if you're in LA, look out for it as well.
It's the last city any of us should be going to at the moment, sadly, but we'll get there eventually.
Well, I'm here if you're here. Give me a call. I'll meet you at Tom Bergen's.
While you were telling us about Tom Bergen's, I was contemplating throwing this bottle of Powers out the door because Powers did not want me to open it. They did not want me to take the plastic off it, but success.
Good.
Well, maybe we should, if we decide to revisit Irish coffees, maybe we can get Tom Bergen's on here to do a little chat.
Definitely. And they have I'll take you there when you come to LA. Oh, there you go. They had this tradition where, like, every visitor would put their name on a shamrock and stick it on the ceiling, and they've got, like, Frank Sinatra and, like,
Is that right?
Absolutely, like just iconic names
Yeah.
and put up there. So it's really cool. It has its own set of history. A whole nother episode for
Listen,
that.
we could do 6 hours on Irish coffee, and you know it.
I do.
But before we all drop off with just after 6 hours of a session, we'll probably get to it. But I want to move on to the next Irish coffee for those who are following along. And I'm going to do a version of the original. I'm going to pay tribute to the original, but it's not going to be the original. So don't at me, as the kids say. I'm going to make a version, and it's going to be different. But what I want to highlight here is I'm using Powers, and I'm using the closest pot still whiskey that Powers has to most likely what Joe Sheridan would have used. I'm using entry-level pot still from Powers, and by entry-level doesn't mean it's not good. It's actually very good. It's 3 Swallow. You see the bottle here, and look at the color of that. Isn't that lovely? It's a very affordable pot still whiskey. You can get this fairly widespread for less than $40 a bottle, and this is a single pot still. They wouldn't have been using the likes of a John's Lane equivalent of a Powers back in the day. They wouldn't have been using a 12-year-old whiskey. There wasn't many. I don't think there was a Powers 12-year-old back in the day, but they would have been using what would have been a Powers Gold label, and Powers Gold label back then would have been a pot still whiskey, and that formula wouldn't have changed till the mid-1960s when it moved to a blend. So I'm using Powers 3 Swallow. I'm also I preheated my glass with hot water, thanks to Mrs. Stories and Sips for running around following text messages. Text message across one single room, and I'm using. What else am I including? I'm not using sugar. I'm using maple syrup. I'm using a Vermont maple syrup. You can use any maple syrup that you want.
Yum.
And I'm putting that in here. I think there's a lovely complexity to a pot still whiskey, and there's a lovely nutty sweetness to a maple syrup. I think they play very well together. So I'm using that as my sweetener. I'm of course using coffee. I have taken the advice of many in our group, and I've upgraded our coffee to a medium roast coffee. And I'm going to then put some freshly grated nutmeg on the top of my coffee. I'm serving it in a stemmed glass, as all original Irish coffees would have been served. This is a lovely one I found on eBay, and it tells me the measurements on it: whiskey, sugar, coffee, and cream. So I know exactly how much I should put in there.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, we had these growing up in Cove and in my parents' house. And when we were back there in November, my mom still has one, but all of the markings have faded. And so I said, you know what? I'd love one of those glasses. And it's got a lovely shamrock on the stem of it too. And so I found 2 on eBay, ordered them immediately, and they arrived to my door in pieces, smashed to bits. So I had to find another seller to get me another 2. They weren't packaged right. But in any case, this is my Irish coffee glass for tonight. So preheated my glass, and I'm going to add some maple syrup to the bottom of my glass. Little drop in there. Again, I'm not set up in the as well as they are in the Buena Vista, or as Gillian was set up. Yes, so that's my my sweetener. Next, I'm going to add my Powers 3 Swallow. Now, I have long moved on from having measures near my hands, so instead I will just pour it. There we go, to the quantity that I want, which is that much.
There you go.
Right, so when you're asking how much whiskey you should pour, the answer is that much, and that's the answer. So first, what I want to do is I want to make sure my maple syrup there starting to dissolve. I'll add in my coffee now to continue that. Just give that a little bit of a stir.
Yum.
I'm going to pour in my hot coffee. I'm going to fill that up to within about a ½ inch at the top, and we will stir this some more. And to those of you commenting about wondering about how it is that over the course of 3 or 4 hours I don't get up off my chair and use the facilities, and to those of you who have accused me of having a bucket under the table, I'm watching you. I'm seeing you. I just happen to have trained myself to sit here for this long. There is no bucket. And next I've got my whipping cream, and I have shaken this far too much, so I need to add a little bit more cream. Bring that down a bit.
Happens to the best of us.
I was so enjoying your story. I just kept shaking it away. I once served an Irish coffee, or was making an Irish coffee for Maureen O'Hara, the actress, and it was in Foynes, in the home of Irish coffee. And I was in the Irish Coffee Making Championships, and I was down to the final 3, and I was working in Adair Manor at the time, and we were considered a very fancy hotel, and so we had to do a very fancy Irish coffee, of course. And so my boss said, I want you to flambe your glass, so that rather than adding hot water to heat your glass, I want you to flambe it, heat it over a flame, and put a little bit of whiskey inside. It'll catch fire. It'll be beautiful, great demonstration. Maureen O'Hara will be blown away. So I trained on that for a few weeks to perfect my flambeing. Came to the night anyway. We arrived at Foynes, got my setup ready, had a little tuxedo on me. I probably weighed about 80 pounds at the time. And I was lost in a big tuxedo, I was, with big shoulders on it. And I was there trying to make my my Irish coffee for Maureen O'Hara. And I spent so much time focused on the flambeing of the glass that I forgot to shake the cream more. And what had happened was that, you know how it goes, that thick cream forms on the top. So as soon as I poured it out, splash into the glass, straight down to the bottom. Oh, sure, I was mortified. Mortified.
Oh, devastated.
All right, here we go. Over the back of a spoon.
Lovely.
Thank God that worked. Jesus, I'd have never lived it down. And now I've grated a little bit of nutmeg, which I'm going to put on top.
Yum.
And now we have a maple Irish coffee with Powers 3 Swallow. So, sláinte.
Cheers. That looks absolutely gorgeous. Bit of an American touch there with the maple syrup. I like it.
It works. Yeah, it works. And you can, of course, like sugar, you can add as much or as little as you want, depending on the sweetness.
Love it.
But there we go. There we go. So that's the kind of hat tip to the traditional Irish coffee. But there was. So I was looking at the history of the Buena Vista too, and I know that John and Kevin are only there 11 and 5 years themselves, but they may have not overseen some of the changes that would have happened over the years there. But there's great articles that you can find. I'll see if I can pull up the links. I'll post them in the group of when they changed the recipe. So they changed a few things over the years. They changed the sugar, they changed the cream, they changed the glass, they changed the whiskey. It's a bit like the man who says he's had the same brush for 20 years, you know, and it's only had 6 new heads and 7 new handles, you know, and that's exactly what they've done with the Irish coffee over there.
Well, it's natural. Like, you think like most bars, restaurants, like businesses in the world have a little bit of change, and they adapt to the times and they modernize it a little bit, and they, you know, switch things up. Maybe it makes a bit more sense to serve it some different way. But this is just not the way it works for the Buena Vista. It's about the authentic, it's about the original, and they make it so perfectly that there is nothing that needs to be changed. And it's just one of those examples of like, keep it up. We don't have that many, you know, places that just keep it authentic and stick around. They stick businesses that have like longevity, like the Buena Vista, and don't change things. I mean, even like Kevin was saying that the bar has looked the same since 1911 or something. I was like, whoa, like that's kind of wild in America. You know, usually it's always about the next thing, the next trend, upgrading.
Well, I'd say they'll stick with the Tullamore D.E.W for a while, and they have done now for quite a while as well. But when you look back to when they made the change, so they had I showed the picture of the bottle earlier, which was the Buena Vista whiskey, which over the years they've used whiskey that came from the Cooley distillery. So that would have been only in the late 80s and the 90s, so not that long ago. They would have also used a blend that was made in the Middleton distillery. They used Powers for a period of time. They used Tullamore D.E.W, of course, originally. And when you look at the articles at the time when they make the change, and the journalists are interviewing people in San Francisco, and they are appalled. They're like, no, we will never go there again. And like when they changed from their own blend, the Cooley bottle, the Buena Vista bottle, to Tullamore D.E.W, people said, that's it. I can get Tullamore D.E.W anywhere. That was what was special about the Buena Vista. Why would I ever go back there? And of course, people don't like change, you know. But they also make the point very clearly. I know I've seen some people in the comments mentioning this, that it was probably financial decisions along the way. But they actually were very clear in these articles where they interviewed the owners, and they said, actually, I can show you the books. There's a penny in it, or a half penny in it, or whatever it is. He says, it's not about the money. He's like, it's typically an owner who said, I prefer this flavor, or I want to be more authentic, or whatever it might be. So it's interesting to track those changes over the years. Yeah.
And sure, like if you think about it, the company's changed throughout the years as well. Like, you know what I mean? So there could have been so many different relationships that led to change, or moments or maybe business. And yeah, I think where they're at now, you know, with Tully, I think it's a really, really great partnership. And it's a great base whiskey for the Irish coffee. I mean, like, it works. And they say it's because of the triple blend. You know, we did talk about the blended whiskeys being more of an appeal to the American audience. So it all just kind of worked out. But I really think that it's fun to experiment with different whiskeys in it too. Like we said, try the Jameson cold brew in an espresso martini. Try the pot still in a traditional Irish whiskey. See what you like, and then go for it and stick with it. But there's plenty of ways you can do it. But make sure you go to Buena Vista and try theirs too.
100%. And the last coffee that we'll have tonight is a coffee that, you know, speaking about the New Orleans coffee, that is an Irish coffee without any Irish whiskey. This too that I'm going to make next is an Irish coffee of sorts without any whiskey. For those of you who would like to try something different. And this is a bottle. They were very kind to send me a bottle here from Bar 1661 in Dublin. And we've interviewed Dave Mulligan, the owner of Bar 1661, which is a remarkable bar that focuses on poteen predominantly and has a great Irish whiskey selection as well. But he has come up with a cocktail called the Belfast Coffee. And it is Belfast Coffee, yeah. And it's a cold cocktail. It's a cold Irish coffee, and it's made with poteen instead of whiskey, and it's made with cold brew coffee, demerara sugar syrup, and cream floated on top. So if you looked at it from the outside, you might think it's traditional Irish coffee, but it's not. And Dave served me one of these in Bar 1661 last year, and I was blown away. I said, that's amazing. Like, that is really, really good. So it's served cold.
So tasty. Yeah, it really it's really playing on that whole cold brew vibe as well. I mean, I love that it's made with poteen, but you know, cold brew, and if you really talk about coffee and the trends within coffee, they can be followed with the Irish coffee. And cold brew and nitro cold brew is like really strong, heavy coffee. It's bold, it's full of flavor, and I think they make their own cold brew at 1661, their own batch. And they use it for this Irish coffee, and I've been lucky enough to have it a few times as well. I think it's really tasty, and I think Gillian actually offers a version of it at Casements as well.
Oh yeah, we've asked her about that. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, so it's spreading in popularity too. So he's started a little trend himself.
Well, it's a great idea because poteen on its own is a very difficult thing to get people to take to. And I remember we had on the podcast last year, I interviewed the creator of Two Gingers whiskey, Kieran Folliard, and Kieran mentioned how he got people to try his Two Gingers whiskey when he released it in Minnesota. Was he encouraged people to try it with ginger ale, even at sampling stations and liquor stores, because getting people to take straight whiskey is a tough ask at 11 o'clock in the morning. And he found a way to get people to enjoy whiskey. And I think Dave is onto something here by making a cocktail that is already universally accepted and just putting a twist on it. And I think that's got appeal.
Yeah. And it's so unique that, you know, because we talked about the hot coffee and the cold cream, but this is all cold and it's so flavorful, and you can definitely taste the poteen in it. Oh, it's so good. I'm very jealous that you have one there.
I have another bottle of this. If you want, I can get it for you. I can send it up to you. So I have 2 bottles. Yeah, I'll get it up to you. Can
I show you something real quick that I have?
Yeah, go for it.
So I was just home for Christmas, and I was in Donegal, and my Nana's brother, right? So my great uncle in Donegal, he loves a bit of poteen, and you know, poteen comes from Donegal originally, or they make the best poteen there. So this is not a bottle of Tanqueray gin. This is a bottle of poteen. So I asked my dad when I was there, I was like, can I take one of those bottles home with me? Because I think people are really interested in poteen over here, and we don't usually have any to kind of sample. And my dad said to me, you can take it, but don't you dare let anybody drink a lot of it. He was like, that stuff is absolutely dangerous. He was like, so I have it on my shelf looking like gin, but I need to put a big thing on it that says poteen.
Hazmat sign.
Yeah, but this is authentic poteen from Donegal, so I'll have to give you a taste of it when you're up in LA.
That'll put hairs on your palms. That would.
Absolutely. It smells lovely though.
I'm poteen meaning little pot, which would have been, every home in Ireland would have had a little pot at some point or another where they would have distilled illicitly, and they would have not gone through the process of maturation, but they would have been distilling their grains, one little pot, and what came out the other side would take the eyes out of your head. but it was sipped in small quantities and kept people sane, I suppose, or they went insane.
Sometimes literally turn you blind, but
That's it.
mistakes
Kieran
happen.
Quinn says, great for making greyhounds run fast. All right, so this cocktail, the Belfast Coffee, is made with Demerara syrup. So it's a syrup made with Demerara sugar. I'm using Demerara sugar itself, not the syrup. And I understand why they use the syrup, because it's going to be a lot easier to dissolve in a cold cocktail. It's already dissolved, as opposed to me trying to dissolve this brown sugar. But we'll go with it anyway. This is pre-mixed poteen and coffee together. And all I need to do is pour this in here.
Lovely. Oh,
Into
that
my
looks
Tua
fab.
glass. I'm going to give this a good stir.
And you could probably recreate a version of this if you didn't have poteen. You could make it with cold brew and Irish whiskey.
You could. Yeah, you definitely could. I think the Tua glass is too big for this one now, so I'm going to pour it into a smaller, daintier glass. But I've made Irish coffees in Tua glasses in the past, and they actually turn out very nice. But I'm going to pour this one in here. Oh, that's the perfect size glass.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Look at this. Look at the elegance. Elegance. Yeah.
He's ending it fancy.
Mrs. Stories and Sips saying, "That's my glass. That's my glass."
That's why it's so elegant.
That is why it's so elegant. It wouldn't be me that would be giving it the elegance. Right, where did I put my spoon? I can't go far, and I've lost it. All right. So my sugar is dissolved, and now I'm going to pour my cream on top over the back of the spoon.
Lovely.
There we go.
Oh, there's something so pretty about that. I can't stop looking.
A little bit of nutmeg on top.
That's how they serve it, right? They put the nutmeg on top, don't they?
They do. If you can see if I can show that to the camera.
Cheers.
Tough to see the top of it now, but
Oh,
cheers.
good.
Yeah. Sláinte.
What do you think the poaching brings that's different, after having had your Powers one just there?
It's a very distinct flavor. It's a, how would you describe that? Geez, I'll need another 2 sips to tell you. It is almost smoother than the Irish whiskey in there. It has blended fantastically with the sugar syrup, or with the sugar, and the coffee, that cold brew. It just seems a lot smoother than even an Irish coffee, a traditional Irish coffee is.
Yeah, it's really tasty. I've been to 1661 a few times, and I'm just like, pfft. Now the cold brew is fab as well, and they're making that themselves. It's really bold. So tasty.
That's so good. There'll be no sleeping tonight with all this coffee we're after putting inside ourselves.
Worth it.
That'll be the end of it. Whew, that's great. Now that's 4. What's that? 4 Irish coffees we made over the course of the
5,
night.
I think, right? Because you made 2, I made 1, and we had the Buena Vista and Gillian. So, and there's plenty more. There's,
That's right.
We talked about the espresso martini. You talked about the frozen Irish. You could even make an Irish coffee, and blend the ice and make it into kind of like a milkshake vibe. If you used a bit of Irish, maybe my one even blended would be really nice. Yeah, but don't be afraid to play around with it. And it's for me, learning to make an Irish coffee perfectly, like you just did, is such like a ultimate like host skill. So if you can have someone over and you can be like, do you want, after dinner, like, do you want an Irish coffee? Like, I just feel like when I make someone an Irish coffee at home, I just feel like such a like baller. Like they're like, damn, like, yeah. I think it's a really cool little life skill. And you know what? It's not hard. Try it my way with the protein shaker. Shake it 50 times. You're going to make mistakes. Maybe just try it a few different times and you'll end up having your little knack to it. And all of a sudden you're an Irish coffee extraordinaire.
Well, we have brought people to a point where their minds and their bodies are giving different signals to themselves and telling them different stories. Chris says the whiskey is making him slow down, but the coffee is speeding him up. He's not sure what to do now. We've broken people, I think, is really what we've done.
You have to be broken. Yeah, it's part of being part of this crew. You got to be able to handle it. A few coffee drinks. We don't do it often, but when we do it right.
Donna, this has been your first time co-hosting the lock-in. I wonder from our audience, can we get some feedback? Can we grade Donna in the kindest possible way on her performance as co-host of the lock-in? And I understand if you say that I don't need to be here anymore, folks, but maybe a round of applause for Donna.
I love criticism too. So tell me what I could have done better. Tell me what Barry's got that I don't. Psychology.
She's trying to work you. No, she's looking for compliments. She's trying to work you. Don't fall for it. Don't fall for it.
Oh, it's been so fun because this is such a fun topic. Like we said, we haven't even got down to the nitty gritty of it all, and there's so much to talk about. And it really has been, we talk about Irish whiskey all the time, but like the Irish coffee has been the way to keep Irish whiskey alive in a lot of senses. So it's been a very fun episode for me to be a part of.
Amazing co-hosting from Maureen. There are calls for you to have a turtleneck, which maybe would be de rigueur for the next appearance, and then I'll wear a turtleneck as well. Kelly Ripa, look out, from Johnny James with all of the applause. Christy says loves Donna, more visits and co-hosting.
Aww.
Brian says her screen could be bigger and mine smaller. Yeah, appreciate that. Thanks, Brian.
Oh, thanks, lad. That's so nice.
I'd like her co-hosting better if she'd spill on her new venture.
I know. I thought we were going to do a vote.
Oh, yes. So maybe, if people get the right answer, will you tell them that they're right?
Absolutely not.
So what's the point?
Well, I'll tell you who's right when I come back in a little while. I don't know when, but I'll have news to share the next time, and it'll be exciting for sure.
Such confidence that you'll be asked. I mean, the next time, the audacity, and I mean, wow, we give you one platform for one night, and now you're already planning the next one.
You have to give the people what they want, Barry.
That's fair. That is true. Truly a brilliant night, says James J. Lynch. Sláinte to you for this great time. Martin typoing there after 16 whiskies. Doonan is great, which we're going to assume is you, and she should be back every week. Only thing better would be to all of us be in Ireland live. I agree. How have you?
We're down the road from each other, so like eventually we are going to be able to do this live in the same place.
I have no interest in being amongst any other humans now that I have been quarantined for a year. This is now my new life. I am hidden away in an apartment and nobody will ever see me again.
So you're telling me if I'm in San Diego drinking Irish whiskey and I send you a picture and I tell you get over here quickly, you're not going to be tempted to come.
No, I need a week. I need a week to prepare emotionally for reintegration with society.
Oh yeah. Well, I'll wait till you're all prepared and back into society. We've got a while to go, but it's going to be fun when it happens. That's for sure. We'll definitely document it.
How have you enjoyed or not enjoyed your experience tonight? What have you? What would you take away from this?
I've learned a few things that I didn't know about the Irish coffee. I definitely have had a lot of fun. I got to listen to some music. I got to have another lock-in. I mean, I feel very lucky. I'm taking away a bunch from this. And even though I'm not working for an Irish whiskey, Barry even took me in. That's very nice of you. So, I'm buzzing about it. This is my favorite topic, and I'm taken away from it that it was a session of a night.
It was a good session, and a very diverse session of guests and characters, and I thought it was lovely. And the 3 hours flew by, and I will remind everyone, this is never meant to be a 3-hour session. This was supposed to be like an hour every Friday for a bit of crack, and somehow it's turned into 3 and sometimes 4 hours.
It's crazy to me. It doesn't feel like I've been here that long at all. Also, I'm glad I'm not as drunk as I thought I would be by the end of this.
I held way back knowing that we were in for a session, and
yeah.
And
I learned my lesson from the last time.
If we were to plan another session, another lock-in, what topics do you like, and what things do you think would make for another good lock-in? And I'm sure the audience would have thoughts as well, but we went back and forth on what tonight was going to be, everything from different hot drinks with Irish whiskey to you saying, nope, it's an Irish coffee night, and here's why. And I thought it was a great angle for us. So have you other ideas?
Yeah, I think it'd be really fun to talk about, one thing that we brought up tonight was Irish whiskey was the original whiskey, right? It was the original order. It was the call, you ask for a whiskey, you're getting an Irish whiskey. So I think that every cocktail that calls for like bourbon or rye or scotch originally probably called for Irish. So I think it would be really fun to kind of explore some of the most popular cocktails and see why they get elevated when you make them with Irish whiskey. And maybe look a little bit into cocktail culture and see where we got lost a little bit in some of those paths as well. Because I think that Irish whiskey is friendly, it's approachable, and it's full of character. So I think that it fits into tons of cocktails. Now, don't get me wrong, I love an Irish whiskey by itself. But as the Irish coffee has shown today, sometimes cocktails are the way to introduce Irish whiskey to a lot of people and to the masses. So that'd be a really interesting topic for me. Poteen, Liam's mentioning, I'd love to look into poteen a little bit. I've obviously got a bottle of it here. So I'd love to talk about that a little bit more too.
We can do something with poteen. And yeah, I have an idea for poteen. And we can talk about that actually, because that's an option and a possibility for us between poteen and whiskey. Liam here is sneakily hiding in the background, but Liam is one of the founders of Ireland Craft Beverages and the man behind Dram in a Can. And you're going to be seeing a lot more from Liam. And you've heard it here first. We're going to be doing a little festival around Irish whiskey and a little can and his cans that are arriving, and 2 Stacks whiskey that are arriving in the United States in the next few weeks and are finding their way to stores. Can. Yeah, so small little cans. Have you seen them? The Dram in a Can.
I seen your picture of them and I'm obsessed. I think it's so cool. It's so innovative.
Yeah, I'll grab it.
Cool way. Yeah. I mean, because sometimes that's what it's about. It's about catching the customer's eye and having something different. And I'm okay. Let's see.
This is a pack of 4. It looks like a box of golf balls, but it's actually
stunning. I love it. I think it looks absolutely great. So how many ounces is in that?
So this is a 100 milliliter can. How many ounces? 100 milliliters. 5 ounces.
Yeah, that's a lot. Because this is
86 proof.
50 mil is 2 ounces, right? So yeah, so 4 ounces.
4 ounces, 86 proof. And what's lovely about this is that it's a blended whiskey, but listen to the components. 40% of it has been aged is dark grain, made from 40% is distilled from dark grain aged in virgin oak casks. 40% is light grain that has been aged in bourbon casks. 8% is pot still, aged in Oloroso sherry butts. 10% is double malt, aged in bourbon casks, and 2% peated malt, aged in bourbon casks. This is a flavor bomb, an absolute flavor bomb. And the fact that you can put this in your pocket and bring it to the beach, we're gonna have a bit of fun with this. We're gonna do a fun event with some music, maybe a comedian. We're gonna talk about 2 Stacks whiskey. That's coming up on March 19th, just after St. Patrick's Day. So we'll be announcing more about that, but this will be fun.
Great timing. Yeah, that looks absolutely great. I'd love to try that. Is that going to be for sale here soon?
California, yeah, it'll be available. I'll give you the details, and I'll publish the details here soon. But that's coming. It'll be available in California, from California, and more widely available across the United States as well. So people will be able to get hold of this before our event, which is the good news, and we'll have some fun with it.
Fab! I can't wait to get a few cans into me.
A bag of cans, a box of cans, a new meaning. Could you grab a bag of cans for a night of bushing? Going out bushing.
I love it.
So that's the crack now. Johnny's watching out for a dram in a can. Liam says good things come in small packages. They do. This is really innovative and fun and really enjoyable whiskey.
It's such a cool way to get people to sample, you know what I mean? And then obviously beyond that, it has so many ways it can be used. Like you just said, bring a few cans to the beach or whatever. But to get people to give it a try, it's really cool. March 1st. Okay, cool.
Exclusive at Stories and Sips. We're getting the launch. And who knows, when Donna joins whatever company she joins, if she's selling whiskey, maybe there are some exclusives for Stories and Sips there too, and some launch opportunities, and who knows what? Who knows?
All the special opportunities for Stories and Sips, and it will be Irish whiskey.
Okay.
I don't know if I told you that, but it's definitely Irish whiskey. There's my spill. That's
a huge spill altogether. Okay, good. Well, great. So do you see the lock-in being a good fit for whatever it is you're going to be doing next?
I see it being a perfect fit, actually.
Oh, is that a sponsorship agreement you're looking for me to provide you? You're looking to sign some kind of headline sponsor agreement? Oh, fine, I'll get it over to you. That's no problem.
Nah, lots of fun times to be had. You know, I'm always up for the crack. Whatever you want to talk about and whatever you're into. I think we have a lot of similar interests. But yeah, I'm really excited to share what I'm doing next.
When do you start? Have you started yet, or have you got some time off?
I have a little bit of time off, so I'm spending my time on my new bike, heading down to the beach, having some time to like get organized, reset before I dive straight in. So I'll probably be starting in, I would say, like the next 3 or 4 weeks will be my official first day.
Okay. All right. That's exciting.
Yeah, it is exciting.
We're all very excited for you. And
thank you.
We'll have to have you back to co-host. And you know, this see what I'm secretly doing here is I'm training up the next generation to take over so that I can slip out the side door and let far better and more qualified people run the lock-in on nights where I'm just can't get off the couch or want to go for a trip or something. This is my dedication to the audience here, as you can tell.
You're looking for a few Friday nights out. You know what, Barry? You're allowed. You're allowed to go out sometimes.
You should see the messages I get. No, you should see the messages I get that one night I took off there not so long ago. It was game over. Death threats. Oh, really? I had to change address and everything. Yeah.
Oh, wow. Yeah. You know, they're a tough audience, but they're a good audience. But yeah, I think you know, people have been private messaging me from the Irish Whiskey Fans of America and stuff, and you know, they really have been saying that the lock-in sometimes is their highlight of the weekend. You know, it kicks off the weekend for them. It's a good session. They're excited for it every Friday. There's always good topics. And this isn't me speaking, like this is literally people telling me. So I know that it's probably been a massive thing for you to take on. I know that it is, because I know how much work you put into tonight's episode. So it's a lot of work, guys, like that he does put in. But yeah, I mean, your audience is loyal and they're all legends. And there's so much crack. When I'm not on, the absolute crack that happens in the comments is so fun. So when I'm not on, I'm in there in the comments and I'm just like laughing my head off. Like, it's definitely an experience and it's as close as you can get to lock in a global pandemic. So fair play to you, Barry. And fair play to you for having it.
It's great fun. And look, I'm building everything we're doing in Stories and Sips is going to be built around there being a standing lock-in every Friday. So I joke when I say I'm trying to get out of it. There may be the occasional night off, let's be honest. But yeah, we'll be flying this flag for a while. But a co-host is a great idea because honestly, people bring so much to the table. You've brought so much tonight. You've brought so much every time you've come on. And you have a great ability to present and to a great wealth of knowledge and just professionalism that just is perfect fit. It's a perfect fit. So we want you to come back and do more of it if you're open and willing.
You're so good, Barry. Thanks for all the compliments. No, I love it. I absolutely love it. You're a top buzzer. I love being here. I can't wait to meet you in real life. Can you believe how much I feel like we know each other?
Not going to happen. Not going to happen. No, not going to happen.
We will.
Now, right now, all of my friends are perfectly organized in folders on my desktop. So it doesn't require me to go and meet anybody. So don't be getting any hopes up.
You act like that, but you know you'd be buzzing for the crack. I'd love to get you on a night out. I'd love to take a picture of Barry at 2 a.m. after a heavy night on the sesh and hold it over your head for the foreseeable.
Yeah. That's exactly why we're never going to meet up.
I love it.
The last time you regaled us with a lovely old tune, like to sing yourself out, and that wasn't the drink talking. That was your heart wanting to let itself out there for the people. Do you know what I mean?
Well, I remember being pushed into singing, both by the people watching and the people on the live stream. I remember my arm being fully twisted, and I didn't want to let the audience down. I do recall that, yes.
There are many calls from the audience for an old tune, and let's have Donna sing for us. And any arm being twisted was purely notional and imaginary in these digital times, and there was nobody forcing you. You felt that you had arrived at an opportunity in a place, a safe place, to share that love that was in your heart that you wanted to put into song for the people.
This fella.
We
did a few belters that night. I think it was after a lot of whiskey, but it was good crack, I have to say.
Look at this new duo.
Wasn't in Blaze.
Look at Johnny thinking we're all dancing monkeys here. Sing, Donna, sing.
I know, right?
We
kind of are, in all fairness.
Sure, we are. Do it for Ireland, says Kieran. Have you an old tune you do?
Yeah, so I mean, it's hard to pick. Like, I'm not, I can't sing loads of songs.
Hard to pick. You've gone from no, I'm not interested to, geez, it'd be hard to pick from the 40 songs I normally share, but
well, I think the last time we did Grace, we did Streets of New York. I don't know if you made me sing another one.
That was lovely when you sang Grace. Yeah, that was lovely.
I do like singing Grace. I have Summer in Dublin. That's another one.
Oh, God. You know what? Poor Liam O'Reilly. He died there in the last few weeks from Bagatelle.
Oh, I know. I love Bagatelle. My sister really got me onto Bagatelle. You need to see my sister one of these times. Her name's Kelly, and I don't know how I'm a whiskey ambassador or I'm a representative of Irishness when this girl exists, because she used to get up in the middle of like an American session in LA, right? It would be like nobody knows any Irish songs, and she'd get up on the table and she would just belt out Summer in Dublin. And I'd be like, I was 20 years old. I'd be like, Kelly, what was that song? So yeah, I got a lot of this from my sisters, and some from my nana, and some from my auntie as well. Everybody loves a good sing song. Not that we have the voices for it. God love us.
That's a beautiful song though, Summer in Dublin. Like that's a classic. Like that's was that entered in the Eurovision? Was that one of the Eurovision songs, or no? That was Meet Me in Europe. Meet Me somewhere in Europe. Meet me in Paris on the Champs-Élysées tonight.
Oh, yeah, banger.
We could be in Rome again, neath the Trevi fountain light. Yeah.
All right, so are you gonna help me or?
No. I'm going to blame our sound capabilities of us not having two tracks that can be combined, which is actually the truth. Otherwise, we'd all be singing together. So if I sing and you sing, it'll pick up half of one of us and half of the other, and it'll be like two cats wailing.
He always has an excuse, doesn't he?
He does.
So what do you think then? Do you want Grace? Do you want Streets of New York, or do you want Summer in Dublin?
Vote, audience members, for Grace, Somewhere in Dublin, or the Streets of New York.
Summer in Dublin.
Summer in Dublin, not somewhere. Yeah, Summer in Dublin. Summer in Dublin.
Yeah. And we're going to lose all our viewers once I start, by the way.
Well, it's one way to clear the house is having us sing, and it's the typical trick of a bar: either open the door or play the national anthem.
Yeah, and you obviously have to follow with one too, right? Which I know it's no bother to you.
I would be inclined to go for something bagatelle related. I'll have to read the lyrics, but I'd be open to it.
Good.
Here's our summer in Dublin, summer in Dublin, summer in Dublin, Grace or summer in Dublin, summer in Dublin, summer in Dublin.
Oh shit! Okay.
Well, it sounds like it's summer in Dublin.
All right. I'm by no means a professional at this song, but it is a good song, and I am from Dublin, so. All right.
Take it away.
Take me away from the city and lead me to where I can be on my own. I wanted to see you, and now that I have, I just want to be left alone. I'll always remember your kind words, and I still remember your name. But I've seen you changing and turning, and I know that things just won't be the same. I remember that summer in Dublin, and the Liffey as it stank like hell, and the young people walking on Grafton Street, everyone looking so well. I was singing a song I heard somewhere, called a rock and roll never forgets. I have to look at this line.
You're grand.
When my humming was smothered by a 46A and the scream of the low flying jets. So I jumped on a bus to Dunleary, stopping off to pick up my guitar. When a drunk on the bus told me how to get rich, I was glad we weren't going too far. So I'm leaving on Wednesday morning and trying to find a place where I can hear the tune of the birds and the sea on the rocks, and where open roads always are near. And if sometimes I tire of the quiet and I want to get back on that hill, I'll just get on the road and I'll stick out my thumb, 'cause I know for sure you'll be there still. I remember that summer in Dublin, and the Liffey as it stank like hell, and the young people walking on Grafton Street, everyone looking so well. I was singing a song I heard somewhere, called a rock and roll never forgets, and my humming was smothered by a 46A and the stream of the love flying jets. So I jumped on a bus to Dunleary, stopping off to pick up my guitar. When a drunk on the bus told me how to get rich, I was glad we weren't going too far.
Yeah.
I can hear
we were going. Yeah. Woo!
I'm laughing at myself at the high notes. I'm like, here we fucking go.
That's
But
brilliant.
it's such a banger. It's such a good song. There's not loads
brilliant.
of songs.
There's a lovely a drum in it too. It's like a.
Yeah, and it's a sesh song for sure. So there you go. You got another one out of me, Barry. Scarlet for me.
We twisted your arm again. Hands in the air. Great crack. Donna's the buzz. Everyone's loving it. Hurrah, says Ed. Brilliant from Johnny.
Legend. Thank you.
Banging.
Thanks for sticking around for
it. The audience that remains at the end of the 3.5 hours are the people who turn up to a funeral to make sure someone's dead, and that's what our audience does at this time of the night.
My kind of people, I'm telling you.
Liam Riley would be so proud. Now there you go.
Aww.
Well, what a great lock-in.
What are you going to give us?
how could I top such a eloquent and delicate performance as that? How could I top?
I'm sure you could. I'm sure you could.
Well, now that you mention it, I have 16 songs here. I'm glad you asked. No. I would have sung something Bagatelle, but because you did, I mean, that's gone. So we'll stay away from Bagatelle. I like Grace as well. But that's your song, so I'm not going to touch that.
I have it. You can share it with me.
Christy Moore is the only man who can borrow songs. Would you give us an old song? The Owl Triangle. Everyone's asking for the Owl Triangle. That's easy enough then. Perfect.
Love it. I love it.
The Owl Triangle. Okay. I know there's other requests in there, but the Owl Triangle is the is the old the staunch favorite. Not because I can sing it, just because I've trained people in a Pavlovian way to requesting it at the end of a night.
No, it's such a good song. I seen Glenn Hansard sing it at the Hollywood Bowl, and it like went into my bones and into my soul, and I've loved it ever since. So gives the L Triangle one.
And then we'll end on that note, and we'll all go away to our respective isolations until such time as we can have a lock in again.
I can't wait. Thank you very much. Thank you for having me. It's been such a sesh, and I've loved every minute of it, and I don't know what I'm going to do now. I'll have to have another Irish coffee, maybe.
Well, I mean, we can keep the session going, but I give a couple of verses of this anyway, and then we can talk about what's next.
Go on.
Take another sip. Lubricate the old throat.
Give yourself the big screen now.
All right, so. A hungry feeling came o'er me stealing, and the mice were squealing in my prison cell, and the old triangle went jingle jangle all along the banks of the Royal Canal. To begin the morning, the screw was bawling, "Get up, you bowsy, and clean out your cell." And the old triangle went jingle jangle all along the banks of the Royal Canal. Now the screw was peeping as the lag lay sleeping, as he lay dreaming about his girl Sal. And the old triangle went jingle jangle all along the banks of the Royal Canal. Up in the female prison, there are 75 women. 'Tis among those women I wish I did dwell. And the old triangle went jingle bloody jangle all along the banks of the Royal Canal. And the old triangle went jingle jangle all along the banks of the Royal Canal. All along the banks of the Royal Canal. You.
Whopper! I loved that. In fairness, you're very, very good at that song. Like, I've heard you sing it before, obviously, but it's fucking a good song for you.
It's
I love
the
it.
only
Well
song.
done.
It's the only song.
No,
The
it's
only
not.
song.
Oh, such a good song. I love it. Fair play. Well done.
Listen, we had a good old session.
We
We
did.
started strong, we finished strong, and we kept it strong all the way through with good, strong coffee and good, strong chat.
And good strong whiskey as well.
Cheers, we did it. We did it. That was brilliant. Listen, I can't thank you enough. You're a legend, a ledge bag, or any other version of Dublin slang that you want to throw in there. And it's been amazing. It's been so much fun. And we have to do it again soon. And we have to hear all about your new venture. And we have to find ways to integrate with your new venture. And yeah, just come back to us.
100%. Yeah. Thank you so much, Barry. Thanks to everybody for tuning in. Thanks for everybody who jumped on. It's been so much fun. And of course, I would love to come back anytime and talk about any topic that we can find that we both love as much as Irish coffee and Irish whiskey. So thank you. I really appreciate you having me.
Donna, thanks a million. We'll see you soon. You're a legend. And everyone,
Cheers.
thanks so much for sticking with us and having a great night with us. We'll do this again soon. Slán everybody. Sadly, the point of the night where I press end broadcast. But I'll see you in the Irish Whiskey Fans of America Facebook group. All right. Slán everybody.